Say you found a skeleton. How would you tell it's a dinosaur? You personally, how would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that.
Hey everybody, welcome to what was going to be a Matt with Maddie, but is instead a Dapper Reacts. Don't get too worried. I know that the thumbnail says that it's an emergency. There is not actually an emergency. It was shameless clickbait in order to get people to actually show up to a late scheduled stream after I had rescheduled the previous stream for February 20th. So now there's just going to be a upcoming stream on my channel up until the 20th. That's just Matt with Maddie. So you all have plenty of notice for that. So no one has any excuse for missing it. Except, like, you know, whatever excuse you want. Because I actually have no hold over any of you. And any of you can come or go as you please. But you can't say you didn't know. So there's that. I am, of course, as often for Dapper Reacts, joined by Vishanti, who very, very helpfully came in as an emergency last-minute replacement. I said to her just a few hours ago, like, hey, Maddie's out, can you come on? She said, sure. So,
I didn't say it like, sure.
Okay, fine. Maybe you didn't. But
I said it as, sure.
Okay. Asta Antediluvian was Ediacarin Ryu for $4.99 and says, AIG is a Richard Carrier of following Will Wheaton's words of wisdom. Don't be a male organ I can't say in super chats.
Yep, don't mean it.
Nice, I'll take a
True.
drink. Wise words from Will Wheaton. One of the man who
Will
played...
Wheaton.
Yes, Will Wheaton. The man who played one of the most unfortunate Star Trek characters in Star Trek history. I don't hold it against him.
Yeah.
But those writers, man, they did him dirty. He said apparently like it affected his like dating life for like a decade afterwards because people would be like, "Wait, aren't you Wesley Crusher?"
Yeah, that
like, oof,
yeah,
that's rough. Sorry, buddy. But hey, we're not actually here to talk about Wesley Crusher, believe it or not. Maybe a different stream on a different channel we can talk about Wesley Crusher. I hear he came back in Picard season 2. I wouldn't know. I didn't watch it. Yeah, season 3 was good though. Watch season 3. Anyway, we are here primarily to talk about Graham Pettis, who, if you were here on Saturday, is the same guy we were talking about just a few days ago. It's weird. I'm not used to having these like this close to each other. We're just like, yeah, just a few days ago we were here talking about the same guy. So he's got a new talk for us. And before we get into it, though, we do have a drinking game, and this is going to be the normal Tuesday drinking rules. So, for instance, as you've already seen, if you super chat or milestone chat anything to the effect that Answers in Genesis are indeed a bag of dicks, we will take a drink for that. You already saw Asta Ryu do that, so thank you very much. We will also take a drink if the creationist in question just says something too stupid and we just kind of have to cool our brains down. That's probably going to be our most common one based on what I saw yesterday, where I ended up hating it so much that I went and had a shot of vermouth because I figured, hey, I need something. And oof, boy, was that rough. Today, I have some Modelo Black, which is what I'm going to go for instead of going through the whole Modelo Cerveza Negra, which I just did. So maybe I should just say Modelo Cerveza Negra.
Modelo Especial has a dark beer.
Yeah.
Called Negro Modelo, and I figured that he would like that more than just regular Modelo Especial, which is like my favorite beer.
I do like it.
Hint. So, yeah, I was correct.
Are you hinting that I should try to get you some beer from here in Arizona? What's the hint?
Oh, I'm just letting the audience know. That's just random trivia about me.
Okay. Hey, now you know, if you're out at the bar with Vishanti and you want to get her a drink, Modelo Especial.
I mean, well, if we were at a beer, I'm probably going to order a gin and tonic, but I'll take Modelo.
I mean, you do like gin.
I do.
It's one of the things I know about
you.
You. Anyway, we'll also take a drink if the creationist tells a joke that doesn't land. Now, he doesn't really have an audience because this is just for a YouTube video, so it'll depend on whether or not we find it funny, which means it'll be much harder for him to get away with any jokes because creationists are not that funny. Brennan, I don't sell literal snake oil herring, who's been a member for 6 months and is at the tetrapod level, says crab equals best pan crustacean and AIG equals best preapulate. I'll take a drink for that.
Best.
Oh, those poor Priapulids. Literally named after the Greek god of really big nicknames for Richard.
Yeah. Purpose.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at any of the art of him, he's usually holding it up by like a rope that he has to have because it would drag on the ground otherwise. So yeah. DM more degrees than Ken Hovind wings, $6.66. Says, given that you tagged him, did Graham comment on the previous stream with a Godzilla? So we'll take a drink for Godzilla because that's another drink trigger. If you super chat or milestone chat and it has one of our kaiju emojis, which include Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, we'll take a drink.
Wow, the person that just tried to spam the chat is definitely using the Happy Merchant as a profile picture, so let's just report that little thing.
Yeah, no, that seems like a good thing to report. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do that real quick. Yep.
Same. Yeah, and that user is
Damn, another one?
wow. We're getting a lot of spam today. That's okay though.
Yeah.
So we will also take a drink if the creationist tells a story that didn't happen. We'll also take a drink if so this isn't gonna come up, but we do have a couple, like, we have Trojan source, which this guy's probably not going to do, but that is if the creationist cites a source, and rather than that source simply not supporting the claim, which it never will unless it's a creationist source, it actively contradicts the claim, then we take a drink. We'll also take a drink if either Vishanti or I can predict what's coming up next where it's not very obvious. We will also take a drink if this creationist mixes up what we could be able to tell about Australopithecus from just the specimen Lucy in isolation, versus what we actually know on the basis of all of them. So, yeah. Also, I'm very sure that these two people that were just banned are actually just, two accounts from the same person.
Yeah.
And so we will also take a drink for every gifted membership. So if you give 5 memberships, we'll take 5 drinks. If you give 10 memberships, we'll drink 10. At about 30, though, I'm just going to finish this beer and get another one. And I bought a 12-pack, so I've got plenty of beer. So I guess what I'm saying is if you really want to see me drink too much, now's your chance, because normally I don't have a 12-pack of beer that I can use. The Sea Loop, who's been a member for 11 months, is at the tetrapod level, says, my sleep equals Dick Carrier os circadian rhythm.
Richard Carrier of circadian rhythms. That's funny.
I'll take a drink for the Mothra, too. Yeah, if you're
seriously?
If you're a Richard Carrier stan, you should probably just leave now. I'll just spoil that. All right, Vishanti, have I missed any of the drink triggers that you know of? It was a little
I wasn't listening to them because I was handling the spam.
Perfectly acceptable. Yeah, no. So here's the thing. If I did miss one, we might drink for it anyway. Now, before we really get into this, remember, you do not have to drink for this game. If you want to play along with water, juice, coffee, tea, a vape pen, chips, I don't care. If you don't want to play along at all, that's also fine. This is just for fun. But if you do decide to play along with an intoxicating substance, please be careful, be safe, know your limits. And yeah, I accept neither responsibility nor liability for any death, dismemberment, grievous bodily harm, destruction of property, or anything like that that is the result of you playing along and doing something stupid. Don't operate heavy machinery. Don't drive. Do not text your ex. But with that out of the way, and I will also say, I know that I have a few other mods in here besides Vishanti, so while she is trying to do co-hosting duties, if you guys could, make sure that you're on top of grabbing any kind of repetitious spam, then that'll be helpful. And I generally think my mod team tends to do a good job, so I believe in y'all. Don't let me down. All right, Vishanti, are you ready for more Graham Pettis?
I suppose.
Okay, could you possibly get more ready in the next couple minutes?
No.
Okay, then that means we're good to go.
Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to talk about fruit fly evolution here for a few minutes. I've been on a roll lately talking about these evolution topics. I always find them interesting. And
okay, so by the way, I want to say lately, because lately is like 6 months ago, because I double-checked his channel, and while he's relatively new in terms of just being on YouTube as a creationist, his last video was like 4 months ago. I don't think he's actually active on the site anymore, which is kind of too bad, because it was nice to have a new face, even if, it was saying really dumb stuff, but I mean, I need the dumb stuff to exist, or this channel doesn't exist. So, you know.
So I'm
I
actually
love how the
responding
chat just stopped working for me for a while. That was cool.
Oh, that's not fun.
Yeah.
to this
Good times.
from a comment someone made on one of my videos. I always put out these videos on evolution, and they get ratioed into oblivion. People, evolutionists hate these things, but it's fine. I enjoy doing them.
I'm just gonna take a drink for the lack of self-awareness that maybe you're just making really dumb videos, dude.
They get ratioed into oblivion.
Yeah, I wonder why. Lack of self-awareness is not normally one of our drink triggers, but like, maybe it can be this time. Also, I think this is a different set of books than last time. I don't know, maybe it's not. I do remember systematic theology being there last time.
Yeah.
And it's what I like talking about. So this guy says, it's responding back to my evolution videos, because I still hold my stance that there is zero evidence for macroevolution. So this is what he says. Look up the fruit fly speciation study. This is observable.
I like how he said the fruit fly speciation study, as if there had only been one.
Yeah, you know the one.
Yeah, there's actually been dozens of them. You can do a fruit fly speciation study in your house right now. I mean, you need a few different tanks, you need some fruit flies, you need, like, food for the fruit flies, and you need a way to capture them, which is, I mean, just freeze them and collect them afterwards. You don't even have to actually freeze them, you can just put them in the refrigerator until they're slow enough that they don't move around much, and then you can just carefully pick them up, right? And you can do your own speciation study. It's actually trivially easy. You can get fruit flies, and in the course of, like, a year or two, just doing something as simple as feeding them a different diet, you can get them to no longer reproduce together. It's that simple, right? Now, do you want to have a fruit fly experiment in your house for like the next year? Yeah, probably not. But like, you know, if you were dedicated to demonstrating this or disproving it, I mean, you could. It's one of the things that I noticed with the flat earther I talked to, Michael, right? A bunch of experiments he could be doing, and he just wasn't. It's like, well, why not? Savage.
Other people should have to do their labor for them.
Obviously. Savage, the unicellular trilobite cobra, who's been a member for 14 months and is at the amnio level, says Dapper is in a symbiotic relationship with Dom, which, yeah, sadly I kind of am. And also I love the name, unicellular trilobite, because remember on Saturday when this guy told us that trilobites were the smallest animal ever found in the fossil record? And we were both just like, wait, what?
No.
It's what? That's the Antediluvian was Eddie Acker and Ryu for $4.99 says the ratio of suspicious raws to people at AIG looks like a Graham Pettis ratios on his YouTube videos. Nice, we'll take a drink. Right, here we go.
Evidence of speciation happening in real time. Fruit flies who were of the same species who were forced to evolve and slowly change species. So let's go ahead and define our terms real quick.
Who wants to bet that if he defines species at all, the only definition he will use is the biological species concept? That's what I'm guessing. Yeah, and of course, let's see. Yeah, this looks like it is a creationist website. Look at this definition of macroevolution. Refers to major evolutionary changes over time. The origin of new types of organisms from previously existing but different ancestral types. What does that even mean? That doesn't mean anything. This looks like a creationist is trying not to use the word kind, so they just use the nearly identical word type. Which, like, oh, okay, good job. Because that's
they're all synonyms, right?
Yeah, like, that's another word that you could just as easily use to translate the word mean in Hebrew. Examples. It makes
my brain hurt.
Examples of this would be a fish descending from an invertebrate animal, or whales descending from a land animal. The evolutionary concept demands these bizarre changes. Yeah, this is absolutely a creationist website. So, right off the bat, we're defining the terms used in science by the use that is suggested by people who are fundamentally against science. And that's a completely inappropriate thing to do, right? Like, for instance, if I want to argue against Christianity, and then I said that, well, you know what salvation is always having enough Cheetos. Any Christian would be very well within their rights to say, well, that's not a good argument against Christianity because your argument presupposes that salvation is about Cheeto availability. But it's fundamentally not about that. Similarly, if you want to argue about macroevolution, you can't start with the wrong definition of macroevolution, because then what you're criticizing isn't actually what's going on. It's something else. I like how I just broke Vishanti with the salvation equals always having enough Cheetos. And come on, you can't tell me...
It's so wrong, but would
be nice.
Having constantly available Cheetos would be nice.
Yeah? Yeah. I'll tell you what, if you guys have a religion that can actually produce indefinite Cheetos, let me know. Because I might sign up. I mean, it might depend on all the other things that go along with it. Yeah, but I'm interested in the infinite Cheeto religion. Or indefinite Cheeto religion. I actually don't want infinite Cheetos, because where would I put them?
Yeah.
Yeah, indefinite Cheetos is where it's at.
So there's two types of evolution. Mainly when people are talking about evolution, scientists or whatnot, they're talking about macro, is when one species is evolving into another species.
No, that's not what they're normally talking about. In fact, actual evolutionary biologists rarely bother with this distinction because it's ultimately a distinction without a difference, right? Macroevolution is just a lot of microevolution. It's the same thing as like, oh, well, microevolution created this stream bed, but macroevolution created the canyon. All right, well, what's the difference between a stream bed and a canyon? I mean, scale mostly. A really big stream bed eventually becomes a canyon. When? I don't know. Sometime. Maybe first it becomes a gorge, and then it becomes a canyon. But, where's the difference?
It takes at least 5 minutes.
Well, yes. The water has to rush through the canyon at hypersonic speeds while making all sorts of crazy switchbacks. Very important to canyon formation.
That takes at least 5 minutes.
Oh, goodness. That's a throwback to why do people laugh at creationists with Thunderfoot? Who now is, basically his entire channel is now just, dunking on Elon Musk, and you know what? I'm okay with this.
Well, it's that, and did he ever get off the whole women in gaming way?
He actually specifically did. He had a whole video about how, I'm done with all of that, because not only is it pretty dumb, it's not helpful, it's not the kind of content that people are here to see, and so I'm gonna just stick with science content.
Nice! Good job.
Although I will say, hey, Miss Sarkeesian, when you want to criticize video games, directly lying about whether or not they incentivize you to kill certain NPCs is going to get you some pushback.
I don't care about any of this.
I care about that a little bit. Not very much.
That has never happened. It's never been observed. It is not science. So this is the two definitions of macroevolution. Macroevolution refers to major evolutionary changes over time, the origin of new species of organisms from,
this is really dumb, so
from previously existing but different ancestral types. Examples of this would be fish descending from an invertebrate animal or whales descending from a land mammal. Man, I love to see the fossils here. There are no transitional fossils at all.
I knew... That's all I get.
Okay. Well, it took me a little while to find the video anyway, so that's fine. But yeah, there's no transitional fossils at all. And specifically, we don't have 51 genera of pre-modern transitional species of whale. Which, if you have early access, you could already hear me list off, all of them in a video in a row as a result of David Gottlieb telling me that there weren't even 22. Yeah.
Also, I'm going to just credit Origami Swami with this one because they said just before Graham Pettis's line, I demand a yodeling slideshow of transitional canyons. And I laughed to myself, but then Graham said the thing and I'm like, okay, that's it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's great, isn't it? Look, there was some fossil whales that just came up. It turns out this is actually a fairly long slideshow because there's a lot of transitional fossils, and this is only a tiny fraction of them. It's just the ones that had easily available CC, share and share alike licenses that I could easily get a hold of online. That's it. That's all this is. There's so many more. So, okay, we'll take a drink for there's no transitional fossils. Okay, Mr. 1998 creationism. even most creationists nowadays won't say that because they know that there are fossils that are morphological intermediaries. And so they'll be like, well, there are morphological
it's
intermediaries,
ridiculous.
but that doesn't mean that they share an evolutionary ancestry. Maybe God just made them that way. Which, yeah, sounds like a whole lot of cope, but at least it's not as reality denying as this guy.
Damn it, Josh!
What did Josh do?
Joshua Bowen from Digital Hammurabi said, I think that Vishanti just doesn't realize that the powerhouses at Alternate Media have totally debunked any understanding that she has about the Hebrew Bible. Roasted!
Hey.
Heard about the amount of psychic damage that one gave me, huh?
I am still happy to be one of the only channels that ever interviewed Josh Bowen and didn't talk about slavery at all during the entire thing. Because holy crap, is that a tired discussion? And Josh knows that he wrote a whole
he was
book
even
about that.
saying it the other day. He's like, I've become the slavery guy, and it's like, well...
Yeah. Sorry,
Well.
Josh. But
Listen,
hey,
I don't know how you couldn't take somebody seriously wearing a coat just covered in, like, NASCAR sponsorships and a big, cattleman's hat.
we're getting way into the weeds on this one. No one's going to know what that
That's
is
the kind of
except for
guy
him.
I can trust to know about
Oh, goodness.
anything related
have
to the
Josh-
Hebrew Bible.
I'm going to have Josh come back on and we'll do a deep dive into split ergativity cross-linguistically. That's what we're going to do.
Ooh.
We're gonna
Well, you know they do
survey
that every other week stream where they read through Joshua in Hebrew. It's really cool.
Yeah, but Hebrew doesn't
Absolutely
have-
linguistic nerdery, top to bottom. I love it.
Hebrew is purely nominative accusative alignment, though, so that doesn't help.
I'm just saying,
Okay,
because you're a
Alright.
linguist nerd, you should also watch that too.
fair. Alternate media is the powerhouse of the cell, says Savage. The unicellular trilobite cobra for $2. And then we got 10 Dapper Dinosaur gift memberships. So that was from Regios, and they went to Old Man Writer, Thor Rasmussen, Ender Ryle Lugirl, I hope so. If I got that wrong, please correct me. Carol Kinzer, Noram Diplitz, Dr. Legendre, Liz D, Tilting Windmill, Ton Ferguson, Flurfament Supervisor, Woof Gaming, and Some Awe. And then also for $2, Fits of Trilobites are the smallest animal rage, which, yes, says AIG or a bag of Steamboat Willies, with the Willies capitalized. There we go.
Good.
Take a drink for that, and then here's 10 more drinks. 1, 2,
Incredible.
3.
My day was up to
4,
this point, and I just feel like chat and
5.
Josh roasting me there. All of that is just turned it
6.
around. Actually, no, my day wasn't meh. It was actually
7.
quite good up until like a few hours ago, but that's okay. Joshua
8.
and Fits of Rage, thank you for sending me things off
9.
my wish list. That
There
was
you
very
go.
kind of you, and I'm very grateful. That
And
meant
10.
a lot to me. So
I
thank
think
you.
my breath now smells like hops.
Good.
You know, before the medieval period, there was no hops in beer.
Shameful.
I mean, there were other bittering agents. The reason that hops became a thing in Europe was because they lost a lot of access to the trade routes that were giving them other bittering agents. But they grew hops, so.
You can find some. I'd love to see
Dapper.
them. The
What?
evolutionary
Question.
concept
Steal the
demands
spice trade. That's not a question. The Dutch did it anyway.
That they did. I like
love
Pelagic
that video.
Tunicates full stop and JT, member for 13 months, who's at the tetrapod level. Why would you like Pelagic Tunicates? Gross. Says
Because
AIG
they're
or a bag of... says, first sends an AIG or a bag of dicks emoji, so we'll take a drink. And then says, just so you have to read my name. Yes, I did in fact have to read that name. It was disgusting. Oh, goodness. I can't believe you would clap for that.
I support this. This
This is one of our biggest disagreements between you and I, is your disgusting sympathy and sympathizer tendencies towards pelagic tunicates.
Look, some of us have this thing called empathy. You
Yeah.
should try it.
Pelagic tunicates don't, because they don't have brains.
That's okay. I'm not considering my empathy to be transactional.
Well, I mean, they do have brains as juveniles. Whatever, it's fine.
these
you go.
bizarre changes. Now, that is not observed. Macroevolution is a religion.
Let's just take a drink
That
for
is so dumb.
not observed equals religion, which is, yeah, that's a pretty bad definition. Hey guys, did you know that you can't observe Buddhism? That's what makes it a religion. Oh, you think you've been to a Buddhist temple? Well, you're wrong.
You know, that the look that I had just now where I just kind of stared off into the middle distance, that was me just now remembering, hey, I have some moonshine downstairs. I should go get it because that was real dumb.
I mean, I could entertain everyone while you run and get some moonshine. I'm not going to stop you. But remember, if it's legal, it ain't shine.
It's not moonshine, yeah. It's moonshine.
Yeah. That's just grain alcohol.
It is.
Which is
It
basically
had real
just,
moonshine.
it's just corn vodka. That's all that is.
Yeah, basically.
Which, hey, look, there's nothing wrong with corn vodka. It's just not necessarily moonshine.
It's just not moonshine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe don't lie to people and say that it is. Let's see. Kip Davis, who's been a member for 3 months, not 13 months. Didn't want to give you an extra 10 months for free there, Kip. Who's at the annual level, says, I'm using my member chat to inform everyone that I watched 2 hours of Gary Habermas today. He may be the Richard Carrier of University of Michigan PhDs. Well, sir, my condolences. My condolences.
Yep, just putting his, like, masochism on Maine.
I mean, everyone is around, like, talking about all these, like, Christian apologists, and I'm like, I have no idea who most of these people are. Like, I've heard the name. Like, if you ask me to give you one of Gary Habermas's positions that isn't just, like, the most generically Christian position, I don't know. Like, where does he stand on, like, penal substitutionary atonement? He's probably pro, I guess, maybe? I don't know. It's like,
Just writing a 5,000-page book on... I don't really have a lot of evidence. Let me tell you why.
Hey, maybe he's paid by the word like L. Ron Hubbard was.
Now, microevolution, I would call this just variations within the gene code. There's
That's not what evolution is. That's just you telling everyone that alleles existing is itself evolution, which no, it's not. It's changes in the frequencies of those variations across generations. That's what evolution is. The fact that the variations are there is not itself evolution. It's like having some eggs in a bag of flour and then saying, like, look, I've got a cake. No, you don't. You've got some of the ingredients of a cake. You definitely don't have
I mean,
a cake.
seeing the variation is evidence for evolution in the same way that having eggs is evidence of chicken.
Yeah, that's where they come from.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a drink for the variation within the gene code is evolution. You know, you would think that before doing one of these videos that he might try to figure out the first thing about what he's talking about. But nope, he's just gonna go out here and just moon all of us. Savage, the unicellular trilobite cobra for $2 says, AIG is a bag of penal organs. That's not normally what that penal means, but I'll take a drink for it anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's related to, like, jail and the carceral system,
Yeah.
right?
The word I think you're looking for is penile, which is
Yes.
the...
Oh, homophones.
Yeah. Alright, now that means I'm already having to pour my next beer. I usually don't actually make
Wait,
it entirely.
Apology is gonna read Gary Habermas's book. Prayers up. Wow.
Good luck, Paul. Are you sure you don't want to just watch more Godzilla and then talk about it with me and Aaron Ra? Because that sounds like way more fun.
You could read the entire Silmarillion and all of the other related Lord of the Rings books and get more out of it than... But you know what?
Like, and it
All
would
right,
take
Paul.
less time. I was like, is that actually true?
No, that's why I didn't say that.
Okay.
But
That's where I thought you were going.
honestly, I mean, I guess he's taking one for the team, so...
I mean,
what
he's
a
already
champ.
taken one for the team and paying for the AIG TV. So,
Yeah, that's true.
I've had access to things I
shut up.
normally shouldn't have because Paul is doing that. So, hey,
That's true.
big salute, buddy. Aster Ryu Archives Trilobites Evolve at level 36 for $4.99 says, definitely not evading the 14-day limit on name changes to say, Mothra loves tunicats. An attempt was made. Yeah, I'll take a drink for the Mothra. Look, Mothra can like tunicats. She's just wrong. It's fine.
Excuse you, Mothra is not wrong about anything ever. She's a beautiful angel and we love her.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about that time she had twins? That was weird.
Yeah, it's weird, but she's not wrong.
Okay.
no new information added, but the Bible does say something about this. So
Oh.
I'm careful to use this word microevolution.
Guys, we're going to hear what the Bible says about micro and macroevolution. Stay tuned, everybody. Yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting. Now, as far as I know, the only two things the Bible says about anything that could be even broadly related to genetics are, one, that things produce things that are kind of like themselves, which you get from the, after their kinds, and that, two, sympathetic magic definitely works when you're doing artificial selection, which you get from the story of when you make, animals by stripy sticks, they make stripy babies.
Yeah. Kip Davis says, I was curious, so I picked up Gary Habermas's dissertation today. It contains no non-English sources in the bibliography.
Yikes. Jeez.
Wow.
I got a bachelor's degree in history at a public university, and my papers frequently cited non-English sources. That's rough, man. Okay, to be fair, though, that was me mostly just flexing on my professors because I like to cite works in languages that I knew they didn't know. So, my Christian history professor actually called me up after my final project. He was like, "Hey, can you read some of this history of the Church of England in Old English for me and tell me what it says?" I was like, "Absolutely."
No? Oh.
And so I just sat there and I was like, all right, here we go. And so I started reading. He's like, oh, wow, you really do read this. I'm like, yep, that's why I use it as a source. I was like, all right, you don't have to come to the final test. You're getting an A. Bye.
Man, I wonder how much better my, senior, I guess, it wasn't like a project. It was like an essay that we had to write for one of our music history classes. I wonder how much better mine would be now that I can at least stumble my way through basic Russian when I'm writing about Shostakovich, because that's who I'd chosen to write about.
Yeah,
how much better would my stuff be if I could read now? So
look, reading things in the original language is a great idea if you can do it. Keller Rotellian, there we go, remember for 18 months and was at that amniote level, says, after watching some of the GE videos with Carrier, I don't understand why those two are mad at Kip Davis specifically and viscerally with the Godzilla. We'll take a drink for the Godzilla.
I do,
yeah. Richard Carrier is what you might call, generously, a man baby. And so having someone who is an actual working academic and not an unemployed blogger attack him and his works really gets under his skin. That's why. Don't worry, Vishanti, you'll recover.
But it's all throughout the textbooks. National Geographic talks about all these big mainstream places. But I would say it's just variations within the gene code. So you have some people with brown hair. You have some people with black hair. You have blue eyes, brown eyes. You have rabbits, some with short hair, some with long hair. It's still a rabbit. And
yes,
there's just
although that
variations
is true,
within
those
the gene
exist.
code. But let's go ahead and read it real quick so we can define our terms. Microevolution refers to varieties with a given type. Change happens within a group, but the descendant
He's just
is
using
clearly
type
the same.
to not say kind.
No, that's exactly what's happening. I mean, and to be fair, I don't think this is his source, right? Because it's the exact same formatting as when he was reading off of the Institute for Creation Research webpage. So I think that's what this is. We have from Asta Antediluvian was Eddie Akron Ryu for $10. One of the three possible sources for the 17-page history paper I wrote in the IB World History, which I'm not sure what IB is, because I literally couldn't find any more, was in Mongolian. I would have cited it if I could read it. Oh, here's the fun thing about Mongolian. Mongolian's got almost as many alphabets as freaking Aramaic. It is nonsense. There's two different writing systems that were invented by Mongolian speakers, and then they also have used versions of the Cyrillic and Latin alphabet at various times. And it's guys, you don't need this many. Just stick with the one. I'm no. And the Cyrillic alphabet was during the period of the USSR where they were like, oh yeah, we're going to do the whole Russianization kind of a thing, and we're going to integrate ourselves more deeply into the the USSR and become a good Soviet client state. And then when that whole thing collapsed, they were like, well, what if we integrate ourselves better with the West and use the Latin alphabet? It's guys, no one in Europe is learning Mongolian just because you switched to the Latin alphabet, I promise.
Yeah, plus, how are you going to indicate, vocal tones?
I actually
don't they have vocal tones, or am I misremembering that with Burmese?
So Burmese has vocal tones.
It's Burmese. Thank you.
Most Sino-Tibetan languages do. but Mongolian isn't
Yeah.
Tibetan, and I don't actually know if it has any.
That's
kind
what I
of
thought. It was
phonemic tone.
Burmese.
So yeah,
We're gonna nerd out about linguistics. That's just a thing we do.
It happens occasionally. I mean, look, Japanese has tone-based stress, and it doesn't indicate tone anywhere in the writing system. So, you know. DM Lord agrees and Ken Hogan.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
DM...
No. I was talking. I'm sorry. I was responding to Vadim.
Oh, about Moldova had to use Cyrillic too?
Yeah, about Moldova having to use Cyrillic, and I'm like,
yeah.
Really?
Look, the Soviets were pretty big on getting people to use Cyrillic.
Yeah, but it's just weird to me because they still speak Romanian, which is usually written in a Latin alphabet with a few like specific diacritics
language
for the vowels, and I'm just like, yeah, and I'm like, Cyrillic for a Romance? Like, what?
Yeah.
All right, Moldova.
Look, languages rarely use alphabets on the basis that they're the best alphabet for that language. English certainly doesn't use the best alphabet it could. DM more degrees than Ken Hovenwing for $2 says, therefore read the KJV. Yes, of course, the only book you should be reading, and the only book worth citing. Although it's not always worth citing it, sometimes you just cite KJV, get book title. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, just KJV, get title. No, it's fine.
Same type of the ancestor. This might be better called, there is variation or adaptation, but the changes are horizontal in effect, not vertical. Such changes might be accomplished by...
What does that mean? Horizontal, not vertical. Okay, here's the thing. That actually means something in, like, actual genetics, right? Horizontal means that you're getting it from your ancestry. So, for instance, Vishanti, I'm going to go ahead and guess that you got your hair texture from a combination of your parents.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you probably didn't get your accent from them genetically. You probably got them as a result of where you lived and the people you grew up around, regardless of what your parents spoke like.
Yep.
Yeah, so you acquired your accent horizontally. You acquired your hair texture vertically. Now, really, we're talking about horizontal gene transfer, which is when you get a gene injected into your genome from a non-ancestor, which doesn't happen much in, like, you know, multicellular animals, but it does happen, and it happens more frequently in unicellular organisms like bacteria, right? But it does happen. In fact, actually, famously, there's a group of butterflies who have horizontally transferred a gene from an ichnumenoid wasp that grants them resistance to being parasitized by those wasp larvae that normally would be injected into them to eat them as caterpillars from the inside out. And instead, they have resistance because they actually incorporated a gene from that wasp into their own genome, as an example of, you know, multicellular animal horizontal gene transfer. But it does not make any sense in this context, and I also don't know why YouTube decided that actually Asta Ryu just gave like 6 super chats for $5, but I'm pretty sure it was only 1. But Asta Antediluvian was Ediacarin Ryu for $5 says, Mongolian does not have tone, but does have ATR and vowel harmony. Okay. And syllable size close to that of English. Oof, sorry to anyone learning Mongolian who isn't already an English speaker. I fear that's what his romanization is like. Yeah, probably. Jeez. Syllable size close to English.
Once you read this next super chat, I'm going to respond to Vadim in the chat, because this is something I can talk about.
Savage, the unicellular trilobite cobra for $2 says, unicellular, like trilobites? No, actually not like trilobites.
So Vadim was responding to my question of, is Moldovan really that different from Romanian? Because they literally just... It's like someone cut off a piece of the country and named it Moldova. There's history there, but anyway, I'm oversimplifying. And he said
was that someone
he
Stalin?
never really got
Stalin.
This is a lot of European history that nobody cares about. Anyway, so he said that he doesn't know because he never really got the hang of Romanian, even though it's a Romance language and he's fluent in Italian. And the thing is if you learn at least some Russian first, then Romanian's going to be way easier than just learning a bunch of Romance languages and trying to jump over, because there was a huge amount of Slavic influence on Romanian.
Yeah, it's also
all the different people that invaded and lived there. There's also a little bit of influence from the Turks, who were either repelled successfully or not, depending on who was in charge of the region at the time. So
when Dracula was in charge, they were propelled successfully.
When Vlad Tepes was in charge, he damn sure made the Ottomans get the F out of there, so...
Yep, mostly by scaring them off, which is hard to do to a horde of Ottoman Turks.
You know what? Psychological warfare. It works.
Yeah. Geez. Mongolian syllables are maximally C, V, V, C, C, C.
What?
Yeah, as compared to English's maximal C, 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 V, C, 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 which is also ridiculous. English is nonsense. Mongolian is apparently only slightly less nonsensical.
It's ridiculous language.
TD Lane, who's been a member for 22 months and is at the Tetrapod level, says Godzilla versus Kong. How about Godzilla versus AIG is a bag of dicks? Let's take a drink. And DM More Degrees and Ken Hovenwing for $2 says, my last SC was about reading in original language. Oh, nice. All right, but
I am in awe of Vadim right now because, well, he's fluent in Russian and Italian and doesn't get Romanian, but he says that he worked with Romanians for more than a decade. Polish is easier, or Czech, and I'm like...
Polish is at least Slavic.
If you think Polish is easier than Romanian, you know what? I'm just going to let you have that one.
Russian,
you win.
Though, if your first language is Russian.
Well, yeah. But if you're fluent in Russian and Italian, but struggle with Romanian, but then Polish is easy, I'm like...
Look,
well,
one of these days, we just need to have... We need to have, like, Kip and Dr. Josh on, and we'll just have a big language nerd stream.
Okay.
Natural selection in which a trait within the present variety is selected as the best for a given set of conditions or accomplished by artificial selection, such as when dog breeders produce a new breed of dog. That's micro evolution.
That's true. It is microevolution. We'll take a drink. You got that right. Now he's going to screw it up.
Variations with the gene code. So let's see what the Bible says about this. It's very specific. We're the first couple chapters of Genesis. It says all throughout it that animals will produce after their kind. It says that all throughout it.
He couldn't get away from it. He couldn't.
Nope. It's right here in Genesis 1:24. And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind.
Wow, it sounds a whole lot
Origami Swami is saying, do a language tier list. Well, obviously Ultra French is at the top.
Well, yeah.
It's S tier.
Yeah, Ultra French is right at the top. A tier is probably going to be the angelic language.
Yeah.
Is it called Seraphim?
Seraphim?
Yeah, Seraphim.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably going to be an A tier.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I want to point out, he's wearing the shirt that says, this shirt evolved from a rock. And it sounds like the Bible in Genesis 1:24 is actually saying that living things evolved from a rock. Because what's the earth if not a rock? You know?
What is Earth comprised of?
Mostly rock, at least at the surface. I suppose deep down you're like, metal. Yeah, okay, great.
Cattle and creeping thing and beasts of the earth after their kind, and it was so. Genesis 1:21, and God created great whales and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind. And
I will bet you $1 that he just copied Kent Hoven's slides. He just reformatted them in his own version of PowerPoint.
Also, hey,
because it's the same color scheme, the same white text on a blue background,
using
the
yellow
same
and
text highlights in yellow.
Yep, with the underscore. Yep, or the underlining.
Mm-hmm.
But also, hey, Graham, you don't have to put your text literally from one edge of the screen to the other. You can leave a margin.
Yeah, margins are nice.
Yep. Like, look at this thumbnail. Even the word emergency, which is really big, I still left a bit of a margin.
After his kind, and God saw that it was good. And I think it's 17 or 18 times throughout the first couple chapters of Genesis that it talks about that this will happen. So, what is a kind?
Well, before we get into his definition of kind, which I'm sure will be very rigorous, Asta Antediluvian was Eddie Acker and Ryu for $5 says, if you like Seraphim and Ultra French, you'd love Tiduna Halaan? I'm not sure how to say that. Unsure of the cases of each of those letters. Well, I'm unsure of all of it. Hey, send me a link, and I will take a look at whatever horrible, horrible nonsense that is.
So let's go ahead and jump into this. This is a wolf.
Guys, we're finally going to get it. This is going to be the guy who finally gives a workable, falsifiable way to tell when two organisms are in the same kind, or more importantly, when they're definitely not in the same kind.
And if you look at it...
You know what? Drinks is on the edge of the screen. That is a good point. And that is because I hastily rearranged it.
Boom, roasted!
Yeah, no, he's got me. I mean, I'll move things over. Yeah, this was just a hasty thing because I was like, the bottom of the screen is too blank, and that was a decision that I made like 10 minutes before we went live. So
Okay.
it wasn't exactly a well thought out decision. Liz D for $5 says, a kind is a type, a sort of thing. What type of one sort? Whatever makes you sing. Also, AIG or a bag of Kent Hovens. Ooh, take a drink. Hey, as far as I know, AIG doesn't have a confirmed body count or any convictions. So, you know.
Which, honestly, convictions, that's kind of sad considering how they've managed the state of Kentucky's money, but
Yeah, well, you know.
that's just me being petty.
Although, speaking of losing court cases, man, 45 just lost another one today before it even started. That's rough. Before jury selection, you already lost a case. Rough. Savage, the unicellular trilobite cobra for $2 says, humans belong to the kind you are contigliers. Yes. Yes, along with the rabbits and the mice and the guinea pigs and the colugos and the lemurs and the capuchin monkeys, all the same kind.
A wolf, a coyote, a jackal, a dog. You would all look at these. I could bring my 4-year-old or my 5-year-old in here right now, and she would say that, you know what, these are probably all the same types of animal.
I believe that Alex Markel just played a Uno reverse card and said in the chat, essentially, don't start none, won't be none.
I mean, if it's about the margin, I mean, I agreed and then I moved things. I made the correction.
The dog always produces dogs. I haven't seen a dog produce a non-dog.
Let's just take a drink. Look, I've gone over it a million times.
Oh my god, this conling was submitted to Agmashwa, which I assumed it was. No roots for nouns, no roots for verbs, only adjectives. Speakers require a potentially infinite number of mouths, 3-dimensional orthography.
Yikes.
Okay.
Wow. I'm going to go ahead and say that potentially infinite means that there's no hard limit on how many mouths are needed to pronounce this language, rather than any actual known phrase requires an infinite number. Or infinite amount, because infinite isn't a number.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway. So speaking of this, once you're in a lineage, you're never going to escape it. That's why gray wolves are still vertebrates. No matter what else they become, there will always be vertebrates. It's also why they're mammals. They'll always be mammals. But guess what? If you can get the common ancestor of vertebrates to diverge into wolves and birds and tuna and frogs, that's a whole lot of evolution. But guess what? They're all still vertebrates. It's not a change in kind. They're still vertebrates. Okay, dude, that doesn't mean anything. One of my favorite examples is like looking at speculative evolution stuff. And one of my favorite examples of that, as you might know if you've ever looked at my by far most popular video, is a speculative evolution project called Serena. And like, look, I'm not using this to say like this is a real thing that it illustrates an actual thing that exists, right? We're using fiction to drive home a point. Okay? So, let's see. Yeah, no, that's really low quality. What is that? Oh, here we go. Okay, so we're going to switch over to another screen, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit of an image to drive something home, right? Now, this is a hypothetical, and it's certainly not going to become a real thing that actually happens, but it's just to drive home the idea. So, this is a bit of art from Serena, the World of Birds, which I highly encourage you to check out. Now, you see some very obvious birds here, right? All these flying creatures are birds. Okay, but this horrible monster here, also a bird. Specifically, these are all canaries.
Dun, dun, dun.
This thing here is a snail. And these are shrimp. Now, if this scene here is set some 200 plus million years in the hypothetical future of another world that was seeded with Earth life. But after all that time, these are canaries, that's a snail, and those are shrimp. Even though they don't look like it. Because that's what evolution is. You can diverge within a group, but you can't just escape from a group that you're in. That's not how it works. It's called monophyly. It's a really big idea in evolutionary biology. It's very important. So let's not forget about this. And also, I just wanted to show off some great Serena, the World of Birds art, because, I mean, it's a great project, and I really, really like it. So, yeah, there you go. All right. Oh no, the transitional slideshow started accidentally. It's already over. But you know what? Dapper's a professional. That's a Dapper's a professional moment. We'll take a drink for that. Yep.
That's a religion. If you want to believe that, you can go ahead and believe it.
Jeez, man.
That's not a
Everything is-
religion!
First, yeah, not only is it not a religion, so we'll take a drink. But you ever notice that basically the implication of this is you're dumb if you believe in an evolution. If you're dumb if you believe in a religion. You know what Graham
Not his.
does? Yeah, not his, of course. His is the exception. His is the one religion that if you're a member of it, then you're not dumb. You're smart, actually. And look, I'm not here to say that Christians are dumb. There are a whole lot of really smart Christians out there, like way smarter than I am, right? There are a whole lot of really smart atheists out there, way smarter than I am. Same is true for Jews, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, people who go to Shinto temples but don't really believe in anything in particular, whatever you want, right? Which, I mean, by the way, people who go to Shinto temples and don't believe in anything in particular is like all of Japan. Because when you ask them about like actual belief in the supernatural, it's virtually non-existent. But damn if they're not all going to Shinto temples and putting little prayers inside those little prayer walls before they go take a test. They're all...
Never be too sure.
Hey, you know what? It can't
Al
hurt.
Trucker is asking if I only ride Ashalot on the weekends. Apparently. Apparently I only ride him on the weekends.
We'll have to have you on more often. And actually, I just noticed that we're actually pretty close to having Chesh come back on. Because the joke is that she only comes on every time I get a new 1,000 subscribers. And we're only 3 away from 12K. So send this video to your friends, because if 3 of them like it enough to subscribe, boom, 12K. And yeah, I did double check to make sure that I was still at 3.
But this is the stuff that they teach in schools. And I'm going to show an image here from National Geographic.
Not the schools.
Oh no.
We all evolved from sea sponges. So.
No.
What?
We did not all evolve from sea sponges. I'm just taking a drink.
And schools do not teach that.
No, they do not. Now, I will say that the common ancestor of all metazoans, that's all animals, probably had some very sponge-like attributes, right? Like, it was multicellular. It probably had cell types, but it didn't have tissues and it didn't have organs. That's probably true of the common ancestor of all animals, which is also true of sponges. But sponges themselves have a whole lot of special adaptations that are unique to them that would not have been in the common ancestor of all animals. Sponges are their own branch of the animal family tree, and they have their own unique adaptations that are not simply universal.
If you want to believe that, you can 100% believe it. But
I mean, I don't want to believe it because it's not true. There's no evidence indicating it's true. At best, you can say that some of the things that we find interesting about sponges would have been shared with the common ancestor of all animals. But that thing itself would not have been a sponge.
Al Trucker asks if you get 1,000 subs, does the Ashalot wear a tutu?
Probably not, mostly because I don't want to try to dig into like the Bitmoji program to try like, add a tutu or something.
I just hate how it's always one side of this being taught. So if you
Yeah, it's the science side, dude. That's what's taught in science classroom. I'm just taking a drink. I hate how it's only one side being taught. Yeah. I mean, it's also why in history class, they don't tell you about like all the, Holocaust revisionism, because it's just not true, so there's no point in telling you about it in history class. It's like, that wasn't really Zyklon B, it was just delousing powder. No, it wasn't. And that's why they don't tell you that in history class, because it wasn't delousing powder.
Look at all these dogs here. It probably a common ancestor was a dog.
Yes, Graham. The common ancestor of all these dogs was a dog, and the common ancestor of all these canines was a canine. And the common ancestor of all these caniforms, including bears and dogs and weasels and stoats are fun, was a caniform. And the common ancestor of all these carnivorans, including the lions and tigers and bears, oh my, was a carnivoran. And the common ancestor of all these ferens, including the pangolins and the lions and tigers and bears, was a ferin. And the common ancestor of all the ferungulatans, including the cows and the whales and the horses and the bears and the tigers and the lions and the pangolins, was a Ferungulatin, and the common ancestors of all the Loraisatherians, including the rabbits and the bunnies and the hares and the pikas and the colugos and the humans and the chimpanzees and the bears and the lions and the tigers and the whales and the horses and the cows, and all of that was a Loraisatherian. Yep, that's how evolution works, buddy. Good job.
No one would deny that. Look at this. Here's all the cats, the leopard, and the cheetah, and the tiger. I would probably say that, you know what? All of these cats here have a common ancestor. It's a cat.
Just gonna take a drink.
Oh
'cause
my
it's both
God.
stupid and right. It never ceases to amaze me the degree to which creationists can say something that's technically true, but use it in service of such a dumb point.
I love TD Lane's comment. They don't tell you about Graham Hancock's brilliance in history class. Clear suppression of the true history. Anyway, here's 10 reasons why the Jews are evil. Sarcasm. Basically.
Actually, I was thinking about using Graham Hancock, but then I realized when you get right down to it, he's not less racist than Holocaust denialists. He's just more careful about it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all it is. He might not also be like as openly genocidal, but he's just as racist. Right? Yeah, so and then Jessica for $1.99 says AIG is a bag of AIGs with a little disguise emoji. Nice, we'll take a drink. Yeah, and so one of the other things is like, okay, but there is a lot of really, really cat-like things that aren't quite cats, right? Like, you get things like civets. Civets are pretty fairly early divulged, like, diverging, that's what I want to go with, within Felidae, right? Are they in the same kind? I mean, maybe. What about binturongs? They're a lot like a cat, but like they walk sort of more like a bear, and also they have a prehensile tail. I don't know, maybe that works, right? Like, what are you going to do, right? In fact, binturongs specifically are basically one of the closest things to cats that are still alive. In fact, actually, no, I believe they are the sister group to Felidae, is the binturongs, who, by the way, have anal glands that smell like buttered toast. Or no, buttered popcorn, sorry. So, there you go. If you want to smell buttered popcorn, you can go squeeze a binturong anal gland. Don't do that. It's probably not something that binturong is going to want you to do. And you'd probably have to, like, break into a zoo, and that's going to be all sorts of trouble. Plus, just make popcorn. But also, beavers have anal glands that smell like vanilla, and they've been used to flavor things in vanilla. So, fun times with the anal glands. Yay!
The stream's getting demonetized. It's not even my fault.
Our last stream still isn't monetized. Yeah, I've kind of given up on it. Vanelli1998, who's been a member for 39 months, thank you so much, says, I thought I was an hour late, but it looks like I'm 4 days late because it's Saturday and Vishanti is here. Yeah, there was some troubles. Maddie had to back out, so Vishanti stepped in as an emergency fill-in, for which I am eternally grateful. Because I will never die, so I will always be grateful. That's how that works. Suddenly, or Pibblepunk, half dog, half canine for $2 says, suddenly remembered I have multiple accounts. Thank you. DM More Degrees than Ken Hovenwing for $2 says, Turtles are the best tetrapods. Turtles. I'm saying turtles for each group of turtles, as well as the word turtles. So, you know, I'll take a drink. Turtles. No, that's not a drink thing.
Cookies Riot. Fun times in the anal glands. Dapper Dinosaur 2024.
I said with anal glands, not in the anal glands. Thank you very much. Get the quote right. But yes, you can quote me as saying fun times with anal glands. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break while I go get myself a couple more beers, and you guys can enjoy the musical stylings of one Beethoven and or some commercials. And we'll read Carrie Bronson's super chat once we get back. See you in a few minutes, everybody. And we are back. Thank you, everyone, for sticking with me. Those of you who did, which actually looks like is virtually everyone. So thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Carrie Bronson for $5 said, "Who lives in the primordial soup in the sea? Grandpa Spongy. Colorless and shapeless and squishy is he. Grandpa Spongy." Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. I did not at first catch on that it was going to be a SpongeBob SquarePants thing, but I did eventually. Sorry about that. Before we actually dive right back into it, I do want to give my quick after break thing, which is to say, hey, this channel is almost entirely supported directly through the contributions of my viewers, and that is something that is frankly kind of amazing to me, right? The fact that I get to do this and use it to pay my bills and keep doing it and spend, you know, like 8 to 12 hours most days working on it. But that's okay, though, because I enjoy working on it most of the time. Sometimes it drives me a little bit crazy, but then I can just take a walk, and no one can tell me that I can't, because I'm in charge of that. And so I want to say a special thank you to everyone who's supporting. And if you're out there and you're not currently supporting, but you're interested in doing so, I want to tell you that there are some very easy ways to do so. There's Patreon and the channel memberships. Those are probably two of the biggest ways. The Patreon, there's a link in the description. You can go there. You can pay as little as $1 a month, or you can go annual for a 15% discount. I also do notice that we just had 5 gifted memberships from Savage, the unicellular trilobite cobra, and we will be reading those out after I'm done. You can get early access to months worth of videos. There's just hours and hours. I'm hoping to get 2 more videos done this week. Don't hold me to that, but it's the plan, right? Right now, I think I can do 2 more videos this week. There's a special Discord server that's just for the supporters of the channel, where you can find me, you can find Vishanti, you can find most of the members here. We have a great number of cool channels. We've got a conlang channel if you want that. We've got a meme dump. We've got venting and heavy stuff. Sorry. We've got a meme dump. We've got a heavy stuff channel for when you really need to vent or talk about heavy issues, which is also a way to segregate it in case you're not up for talking about those things. You don't have to see it. You know, we've got a Power Rangers channel. We've got a TTRPG channel. All sorts of great stuff in there. I've got an art share channel where you can just put your art for other people to take a look at. Preferably not to steal, although I don't technically have control over that. So, you know, don't put anything in there unless you're willing to post publicly online. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. All those perks are also there for the memberships. That's with a join button below the channel. That is only monthly and it starts at $1.99. But yeah, those are some great ways. If a monthly or an annual pledge isn't your thing, but you're still interested in helping out the channel, both Vishanti and I have wish lists linked in the description, as does Bent. And there's also a merch store linked in the description where you can get Dapper Dinosaur-themed t-shirts, mugs, baby onesies, phone cases, blankets, towels, pillows, stickers, basically everything but leggings, because I could not find a good way to get the Dapper Dinosaur art to fit onto a legging without it being really weird and having some unfortunate placement, shall we say.
That's why I think that you should make the Dapper Dinosaur leggings just the pattern of your legs.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's something I could do, but it would be a big project, because I would first have to figure out exactly what the layout is. It's a whole thing. I could make it happen, though. All right. That being said, sorry, I don't know why I just raised my voice that much. 5 gifts from Savage Cobra. They went to William Wildermuth, Dan Robinson, Masked Wolf Dragoness, Morena, and 3 Can Sam. Let's take 5 drinks for that. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Oh, these names. These names in chat.
Oh no, I have some of the best names that people give themselves in chat. I love that became a thing. Because now just reading the names on the super chats makes me laugh. And that brings me so much. That sparks joy, as you might say.
Let's jump in here. Birds. Look at all these different types of birds. Tons of birds.
If he says that all birds are one kind, after restricting his kinds to mammal families, I will finish this drink. Because I'm pretty sure that's where he's going.
But you know what? It has a common ancestor. A bird. You know.
Jesus Christ, dude. Kind. Could be, you know, felines. Or all of birds. What the... I'm using it. What the fuck, dude? We got our 1 F-bomb, that's it. Like, come on, man. I'm finishing this drink and pouring another beer. That is just wow.
Dude.
Okay, it was only like 3 drinks worth, so putting in 3 more drinks. And I'm popping open another beer. My goodness, that is... Oh, how do you go with that? I mean, I know I've heard creationists say, like, all frogs or all bacteria, but usually, at least because birds are, like, warm-blooded tetrapods, they usually also stick to, like, the family level with birds. But nope. I'm telling you what, man, there's a much bigger difference between, say, I'll pick 2 birds from this. What are some good birds to choose from this? Okay, between that owl and that hummingbird, it's a much bigger difference between those two than there are between you and a chimpanzee, my guy. In fact, between the owl and the cassowary, which I just noticed now, that's like the difference between you and a kangaroo, dude. You really think that's the same kind? I mean, if you want all birds to be in the same kind, I mean, sure, I'll grant it. But guess what? That also means basically all mammals are in the same kind. Because the divergence between the different bird groups here, where you have a paleognathe and a bunch of neognathe birds, yeah, it's similar to the divergence time between all mammals. Which means, yeah, the common ancestor of that cassowary and that puffin lived around the same time as the common ancestor between you and a frickin' echidna. That's what we're talking about here. Jeez. Roasting McKellar for 199 says, Ratites get no love. What do you mean? I love Ratites. I bring up Ratites all the time. You must be new
Yeah,
here.
I'm with Ernie Matthews on this one. He said don't fuck with the emus, but it's be the cassowaries, I think.
Well, okay, but to be fair, the Australian government never went to
But
war
don't do
with
those
the
either.
cassowaries.
Okay.
The Australian government went to war
Don't
and
fight either
lost.
one of those birds.
Yeah, don't.
Just saying.
Well, first of all, don't fight
Yeah.
birds. Just don't. It's not a good idea.
But especially, birds that could disembowel you with a swipe of their claw.
Yeah. Cassowary's got like that giant, like weird raptor claw thing going on, and they will take your guts right out.
That is a dinosaur foot if I have ever seen one.
Yeah. I saw a video once of like a cassowary coming up on some woman at the beach, and she didn't notice. And then she got up, and she's just like slowly backing away. I'm like, yeah, that woman almost just died right there. I'm like,
Yep.
geez, man.
Yep.
Yeah. And like you can see the rest
Hear
of
the theme music playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Never see a bird evolve into a giraffe or a whale or a mosquito.
Oh, yeah, you should hope that we did see that, because that would falsify evolution, my guy. I'm taking a drink. Do I have to bring out more Serena pictures?
I'm losing the ability to coherently articulate thought. This is so dumb.
Well, the good news is, originally I was like, maybe we can push through all of this. We've gotten through about 4 minutes, and there's 10 minutes left.
Oh my lord. Okay.
We're watching this guy at a way slower pace than normal.
This is what they teach in the textbooks. Look at this. Here's the tree of life.
Okay, I want to point out that at no point in this tree of life does it say, one, that sponges are the ancestors of all living things, because see how sponges branch off first? And then you get Eumetazoa, which is that group that includes Cnidaria and everything else. I mean, sure, they're getting rid of the comb jellies for some reason, because I guess everyone hates ctenophores. I don't hate ctenophores. I think ctenophores are great, because for one thing, they're the largest organisms that swim by means of cilia, which I think should get them a medal or something. But anyway, yeah, it does not say the thing he said it did. My unfinished chapter 1 for $5 says, if I saw a Ceratosaurus walking down the street, I definitely would not tell them they couldn't do that. I mean, good advice. But also, I missed a DM More Degrees than Ken Hovenwing super chat, which says, penguins aren't birds, they're abominations, with a bunch of penguin emojis. Gee, that's harsh to penguins. Although I will say, if you look at the inside of a penguin mouth,
it's horrifying.
Yeah, that might convince you to be an atheist. It's possible.
You look at that beak and tell me there's a god.
Exactly.
This is from the National Geographic, and this says that we evolved.
It's just from National Geographic.
Yes, that peer-reviewed journal, National Geographic.
Yeah, that's another thing. This is not exactly like the height of science. This is a science communication thing for people who aren't scientists. And look, as a science communication platform, it's not bad. But it's also not peer-reviewed science.
From sea sponges. Here we are, 700 million years ago. So next time you're swimming in the ocean...
Hey, dude, what's that bit that extends beneath the branch for sea sponges? What is Vishanti? What do you think that is?
Let me make this full screen because it's real tiny.
Mhm.
Uh,
That little blue stick.
It's
that
really
sticks
hard for me
down
to
right
see.
To the bottom.
Huh? That looks like there's more ancestors there that they didn't fit on the chart.
Right.
Could be
so
wrong,
if
though.
porifera or sponges are a branch away from that, then can we say that we're descended from sponges? If you're way up there at the top of that on the left?
No.
No, you can't. Weird. It's almost like he did exactly what I thought he would. I'll take a drink for confirmed prediction.
You know what? I think that deserves a triangle meme.
Oh,
because this dude,
yeah. Guys,
he's
send your triangle emojis.
honestly proving it right now.
Yeah, remember. Oh, why is this so... Why is there like a thing? Whatever. Remember, you can be... Oh, move that around here. Remember, you can be well-informed, honest, or creationist. Only two at most. You can pick at most two. You can only pick one if you want to. You can pick none, I suppose. But a lot of people pick one. But you can't pick more than two. So,
Can't be all three at once.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
I live in Florida. We go down to the Keys every once in a while. We hire John Pennekamp.
Why am I not surprised that this Hoban clone lives in Florida?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Richard Taylor. That's right. Trojan Source. Good call.
Oh, that is a Trojan source. Holy crap. Yeah. Good point. All right,
nice
I'll take a drink.
one.
Because I didn't go and
Well
look it up
done.
myself, I didn't even think about that. Roasting a Keller for $1.99 says, cladograms are hypotheses. True. This is accurate.
Take us out there and look at the coral reef. So, you know what? Next time you're ever out there swimming, just look down, wave down, and say, hi, Grandpa. There's your grandpa right there.
He literally wants to be Kent Hovind.
Yep.
And I didn't think that you could have a great value Kent Hovind, but here we are.
Mm-hmm. Look at him. This is the Kent Hovind you get when you order them from Wish.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to point out that coral are in Cnidaria, that second group that branches off from the bottom here, not porifera, which is the sponges. Just thought I'd put that out there since he was talking about swimming in the reefs, which are primarily made of cnidarians. Including some cnidarians that get most of their sugar, and therefore calories, from photosynthesis. So that's an interesting little fact there.
I'm going to mispronounce this, but I'm going to try it anyway.
Okay.
Thylacoleon Kennedy in the chat says, creationists correctly interpret a cladogram challenge level impossible.
Right. Also, I believe that's Thylacoleon.
Thylacoleon. Okay, thank you. I missed a vowel.
Yeah, because it's named for Thylacoleo, which is the so-called marsupial lion, which is an extinct predator from
I just decided to
Australia.
drop an entire vowel. It's fine.
You know what? Sometimes you accidentally a vowel.
I did.
Our former ancestors' sea sponges. This is the junk that they teach people, and people believe this all day long, and they don't question it because teachers
No, they
have
don't.
these
Yeah, that's not what they're telling anyone.
degrees, and they're teaching our kids this garbage. And so here it is. Here's the tree here, goes up to the
Nobody's
starfish.
teaching
Here's some
that.
birds.
What? Where's a bird? Points to a bird.
Teeny birds on there.
He's just straight up just lying about the chart. Like, look at these birds. What do you think that skate there is a bird? Do you think the bear is a bird? Do you think that weirdly kind of strapping individual in the sheer t-shirt for some reason is a bird? Why is that what they picked for the random human? Whatever, I don't care. Take a drink.
Yeah, thank you, Kip Davis. Vowels disappear in Hebrew constantly.
Okay, but despite that, Hebrew has way too many vowels for any Semitic language. Like, Hebrew, I'm going to need you to cut down your vowel inventory by, like, at least 2/3. This is ridiculous.
It doesn't have as many vowels as English. I think they're doing all right.
Okay, but at least English is an Indo-European language, a family known for having a fair few vowels per language.
So?
So, Hebrew's Semitic language. Be like Arabic and get by with 3
And?
vowel qualities and 2
No!
lengths.
Could be like the Black Hebrew Israelites who think there's only, like, 1.
Well, okay, no, that's stupid. Look,
Maybe 2 at the most, because
Okay, to be
Yahawashi has
fair-
2 vowels.
well, yeah. Okay, I'll be honest and say that because I've spent far more time studying Arabic than Hebrew, I do always default to Arabic for Semitic languages. That's why frequently when trying to say the names of Hebrew letters, I just give the Arabic name equivalent for the same letter in the Arabic alphabet. I understand this. I get my own biases, but still. If you've got more than like 10 vowels and you're a Semitic language, just get out.
Try not being so conservative, Arabic.
No, that's one of the things I like about Arabic is the absurdly conservative phonology. And I mean absurdly conservative. It's got like the same phonology as Akkadian, man. It's ridiculous. We've got a super chat from Vandalia1998 for $5 who says, you said you can be two, so have you met either a well-informed creationist or an honest creationist? Yeah, I have. Mm-hmm. The honest ones are the ones who aren't well-informed, and the well-informed ones, like Robert Carter, are the ones who aren't honest.
Yep.
Chris McDaniel, member for 13 months, and is at the amniote level, says, I don't like evolution because I caught the C virus for the third time in 3 years over Christmas.
Oh.
Oof. That's rough. The new one before I could get the shot with the Godzilla emoji. We'll take a drink for that, and I am sorry. As far as I know, have managed to thus far avoid it entirely. Now, part of that might be that I live like a stylite.
Yeah, but you don't go out much.
Like I said, I live like a stylite.
Yeah.
Which, in case you're wondering, is a weird group of Christian ascetics that existed in like the first millennium who decided that they would get away from the sinfulness of civilization and go live on the top of pillars in ancient ruins and just stay on those pillars for decades. Just poop off the side, and if people didn't bring them food, they didn't eat. And people would bring them food and water, and then listen to the wisdom of the guy who thought that a good life choice was to spend the rest of his life on top of a pillar. Which is a thing you can do. I don't recommend it.
Some other water creatures, there's us right there, come from the same tree as the
Some water
sea sponge there.
creatures.
So,
Oh,
You know what's not on there,
did
though?
I just do that? Oh my goodness.
Birds. Also, wow, Dapper's a professional.
Yeah.
proteomics shouldn't just be one from the National Geographic.
Okay.
And this says that we evolved from sea sponges. Here we are, 700 million years ago. So next, look at the coral reef. So you know what? Next time
and
you're
then it
ever out there
crashed.
swimming, just
I
look down,
hate my
wave down,
life.
and say, "Hi, Grandpa." There's your grandpa right there. Our former ancestors, sea sponges. This is the junk that.
I hate
Like,
it.
literally no one thinks that.
Now I have to open the video again because it stupid crashed. That's another
Super
Japanese
interested. Maybe
professional.
this was a little dry, but I just don't think stuff like this is. Hi,
Yep.
Grandpa. There's your grandpa right there.
All right, I'll share it
Our
with you again.
Former ancestors.
Only
sea
the
sponges.
best
This is the junk that
on
they
this
teach people,
channel, folks.
and people believe this all day long, and they don't question it because teachers have these degrees.
Like how he puts degrees in scare quotes, like they don't have a degree. Unlike Kent Hovind, your queer mentor, who definitely has a for real degree from a for real school.
I love how he's like, because they're teaching you, because, teachers have these degrees and
Degrees? What kind of stupid crap is this? Oh, goodness. You know what? This guy would have made a great actor in Star Trek as a Ferengi. I don't know why, but he just gives me those vibes.
It actually.
Like, I can just see him,
Yeah.
like, scheming like a little Ferengi. He's like, but there's profit in the winds. I can feel it. And he's, like, rubbing his hands together in glee. Yeah. Because, yeah. You know what, though? The Ferengi are fun. I like the Ferengi.
They are fun.
They force their females to wear clothing. Disgusting. Yeah.
I
I mean-
love Ferengi. Just, they're so honest about who they are.
They're
Great.
very open about it. It's like, yeah, I'm here to make money.
Yeah.
What? That's it. And it's like, hey, man, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I can work with that, I guess. Yeah. And of course, one of my favorite Ferengi characters is Inspector Brunt of the FCA, played by the incomparable Star Trek actor
Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffrey Combs is so great.
He is.
And they're teaching our kids this garbage.
Liz D
And so here
says
it
the
is. Here's
437th rule of acquisition: everything profits from its own kind.
Oh, I should get a compilation of all of
Yeah.
them and just start learning them.
I mean, I used to know people that that knew all the rules of acquisition.
That's pretty impressive.
Because, that's how Star Trek fans are. Like, people just out here learning Klingon conversationally and memorizing all the rules of acquisition, as you do.
Yeah.
The tree here goes up to the starfish. Here's some birds.
No, there's no birds.
The water creatures. There's us right there. Come from the same tree as the sea sponge there.
I really want to know, though, what animal on here he thought was a bird. Like, is it the tardigrade? Is it the shrimp? Is it the freaking tick? I want to know. Goop23 for $2 says, teachers famously never questioned by parents. Yeah, obviously.
Yep.
Although, to be fair, though,
especially not in his state.
I had a teacher in grade school once tell me that higher viscosity meant easier flow, and I was like, no. And she's like, you're gonna have to just accept that I'm right about this. And I'm like, I'll shut up, but you're wrong. And then I went and checked with actual physics textbooks. I was like, yeah, no, I'm right about this. Higher viscosity means more resistance to flow. Screw you, random teacher in 5th grade or whatever. Savage, the unicellular trilobite cobra, for $5 says, the Patriot University is school for preachers who can't study good but have money. Yes.
So, we're all evolved from sea sponges. If you want to believe that, go ahead. So,
no one believes that.
This guy was talking about...
Oh, right, we're finally onto the fruit fly speciation study.
Remember that 20 minutes ago?
But look at this the site, or this citation. thecollege.syr, which I think is Syria.edu. So this is from the college in Syria.
Syracuse.
Oh, Syracuse?
No, that's Syracuse.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Syria, they wouldn't... No, that's... No.
Hey, you know what? I'm not going to knock Syrian colleges. I've never been to one. I've got Syrian friends. Which means nothing.
This fruit fly speciation study. Let's go ahead and read it. I thought it was a very weak article, but...
Well, dude, you thought that chart had birds on it. So I'm not sure I'm going to take your word for it.
I'm sure he thought it was weak. Okay.
Yeah, you're the one who apparently thought that ticks or something were birds. So, my guy.
I'm going to go ahead and read this, and then I'm going to show you the other side. See, schools indoctrinate people. They do not educate people. And educate.
Also, this is from the Proceedings of the Royal Society. Why was that not the site that you accessed this from? Is because rather than actually going through the actual scientific publication, you wanted to go through some blog post by Dan Bernardi? Is that why? Is it because you can't actually understand, or maybe you don't even know how to access the actual Royal Society publication? Maybe.
You should be learning all sides. I think if you should either teach both evolution and creation science, or you teach none. It should.
No, let's teach science, which is
no.
evolution.
Let's Let's not teach any creation because it's scientifically false.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I suppose you can come up with versions of creation that aren't scientifically disproven, but they're unfalsifiable and not supported by anything in science. So,
great. So we're going to start talking about the flying spaghetti monster. I love this.
No, because we should only talk about things that are well supported and falsifiable in science class.
I mean, I think he would object to the flying spaghetti monster, but we have just as much support for that as we do young Earth creation.
Yeah, that's true.
Decided. Our schools this day are indoctrination camps. That's what they are. They don't teach people anything.
No, they're not. Oh my god! Projection! Projection!
All right, here it is. The results of a study by biologists from the College of Arts and Sciences, which examined reproductive traits of the fruit fly, have been published in the scholarly journal Proceedings of the Royal Society Biological Sciences. Their article, and it's cited there.
You can't even read it. Quantitative proteomics. There you go. I have the excuse of beer. I'm on my 3rd beer. Quantitative proteomics reveals rapid divergence in the post-mating response of female reproductive tracts among sibling species. And I'm reading that while drunk, and it's half, transparent, because he's transitioning between slides. What's your excuse, Graham? Is it just lack of literacy?
The research team, which included postdoctoral research Aaron L. McCullough, graduate student, gives the credentials. The group examined the molecular environment.
Oh,
no.
Apparently, update. Kip Davis says I'm wrong because he's seen a picture of the flying spaghetti monster. Well, ramen.
I mean, I've seen a picture of Union soldiers holding up a pteranodon and then been told that they were actually Confederate soldiers. So, I mean, Also, I want to point out that Erin L. McCullough's qualifications are not graduate student Caitlin E. McDonough, Professor Scott Pitnick, and Associate Professor Steve Doris. Those are just separate people. That's not her qualifications, as Graham might have just led you to believe. Because generally speaking, someone's qualifications aren't just the names of other people. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Because apparently reading comprehension is a thing that Graham has struggles with mightily.
Environment of the female reproductive trait in 3 closely related fruit fly.
Not trait, it's tract. Jeez, I'm taking a drink. Dude, read the words that are on the screen. The female reproductive trait, that's not even, what does that even mean? It's tract, which is the part of the body where the actual organs form a little path for ingress and egress of reproductive things like eggs or sperm. Jeez, man.
He really is great value, Kent Hovind.
Yeah. He might actually be less literate than Kent Hovind. I think Kent would say tract.
Effort.
What do you think he would do with the word tractate?
Yeah, no, I don't think that.
Species following mating.
I'm sure he's one of those guys that would be like, I've read the Talmud.
Yes. Yep.
Sure he did, buddy.
I read it last weekend. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, fun fact, if someone tells you, like, if they're not Jewish and they tell you, I've read the Talmud, I believe you. Ask them how long it took, how many years, and if they don't have multiple years, then they're probably just lying to you.
Like, it's not like it's impossible for non-Jewish people to read the Talmud. It's publicly available. But it's not going to be something you read in the weekend. It's going to be...
you don't read it over the weekend.
Yeah, it's a years-long exercise. And for that very reason...
Thousands of pages of, like, tort law in... How did Miriam Manzovin... She said it's 1st century rabbi read it.
Yeah.
And essentially it.
Yeah. Like, if you want to read 1,000 years worth of Reddit posts, have fun.
Proteomics.
There you go. You got it, dude. Good job.
Which is a study of protein composition and complex biological samples. They compare the abundance of protein.
He did worse with
proteomics. In the female reproductive tract before and after mating, and found
we got it now.
Species responded very differently to mating. In 2 species, there were large changes in protein.
Really? Bro,
look,
what?
Okay, look, maybe he's got a legitimate reading disability, and we shouldn't make fun of him for that. Maybe that's
Maybe he should decide to work around reading huge blocks of text that he didn't write.
Also fair.
After mating. But in the 3rd species, there were essentially no changes in protein abundance after mating. So they keep saying different species.
Do you think he actually internalized any of that, or do you just read it?
No, he looked for keywords that he can respond to using his script. Because I know which kind of creationist this is. He's, like you said, great value Kent Hovind, and that's what Kent does. He doesn't actually listen to what's happening or read what's happening. He just waits for key phrases that he recognizes so that he can access that part of his script in like his little internal data bank. And then he just pulls it up and spits it out by rote memory. And that's his counter.
I'm good. Hang on. Let me read this next bit before he does, because I want you to laugh at this.
Okay.
Since successful reproduction depends on highly coordinated interactions between male and female proteins, the team concluded that differences in the molecular environment from one species to another may reduce hybridization or interbreeding between different species and help maintain species boundaries.
Nice. Also,
and he's going to say that this is saying, see, they proved evolution can't happen because how are these animals supposed to breed? They're different kinds.
All right, there's a prediction. Cookie's right, who's been a member for 2 months and is at the ambient level, says, petition to have an alternate slideshow soundtrack, Vishanti singing, Transition! If I could actually get like a clean instrumental track that's not going to get hit on like copyright notices for the tradition song, I think that would actually be pretty fun. Plus, on top of that, I mean, Fiddler on the Roof is great, and if you
that is a good,
it's a good show. So yeah. I mean, it's not just that it's got great songs, which it does, but it's also, you know, it's a really human story about the tension between tradition and the changing world and what it means to maintain your identity in a world that's hostile to you, and all sorts of those great themes are right in there. And
Yeah.
I think for that reason, it's kind of a timeless story. Even though it's very much also a story set in a particular time in Russian history.
Yeah, that particular period of time also makes it really powerful.
Yeah, it's like it's somehow deeply rooted in the time and place of its setting, and also timeless in different ways, and I appreciate that.
Is it still a fly? Are we still looking at flies here? Maybe.
Creationists understanding monophyly. It's just not going to ever happen. I'm taking a drink.
He didn't internalize any of this.
Yeah, remember that
Not even a
time
little.
that you said that there was no speciation, and then you're like, well, is it still a fly? Yeah, okay.
3 different types of flies, and that's why I have to be very careful with the terms here. The fly is
Not types of flies, different species of that fly.
Mm-hmm. Which means there was macroevolution happening. But remember, because his definition of macroevolution was basically useless and involved different types of organisms without ever defining what that means, he can just say, well, there's still flies. Oh, well, there's still insects. Oh, well, there's still hexapods. Well, there's still pancrustaceans. Well, there's still protostomes. Well, there's still bilaterians. Well, there's still animals. Well, there's still eukaryotes. It doesn't matter. He can just pick whatever he needs and say, well, there's still, and then pick the thing that unites all of them.
With a bird or some other type of insect is 3 different types of flies. And again, you're talking about...
Yes, if you want to talk about the speciation between different fly groups, you're going to talk about flies, my guy.
About microevolution, just variations within the...
Cookies Riot says that they will make the music for Transition. In which case, yeah, I mean, hey, send it to me, and I'll send it to Vishanti, and if I can get... I mean, like, be warned, Vishanti, like, that transitional species slideshow is like 3 minutes, so we're going to have to get like 3 minutes worth of the tradition song transformed into transition, so...
Okay.
Come
Y'all,
on, just
I
tap
am
into
not
your-
a vocalist. I
Tap-
think you all know this by now.
Tap into your inner Tevye. And also, like, your inner Russian Yenta or something. I don't know. Look, there were a lot of lines from the female vocal chorus in that song, too. About, like,
True.
washing and you know, keeping the house clean and whatnot so that, you know, the husband can go study the holy book. It's important.
Mm-hmm.
You have to keep the house clean or your husband can't study the Torah. And then tell you what it says.
Yeah.
Gene code. I think they should just get rid of that term completely. Since successful reproduction demands on highly coordinated interactions between male and female proteins, the team concluded that differences in the molecular environment from one species to another may reduce hybridization or interbreeding between different species and help maintain species boundaries. This study expands the understanding of the evolution of reproductive traits and the origins of biodiversity.
So I want to be clear. What this study did, I can't talk, was it specifically found evidence for actual distinct measurable differences in the reproductive proteins between different flies that resulted in lower rates of interfertility between species. And this guy is like, yeah, but they didn't become canaries, so who cares? I don't know what
Trixie
to say.
is asking...
Oh, sorry.
Is asking me how much do they need to pay me for it to sing a parody version of Tradition.
For like 3 minutes.
Yeah, for 3 minutes, being that I'm not a vocalist, I'm just someone messing around and shit posting, it's gonna cost like base rate $200.
Well, there you go.
That's base rate. Don't give me $200 to sing 3 minutes of that, please. Just don't.
Or
I don't want to subject people to that.
You could also do that. That's another option.
I'm not even kidding. That's the article.
Okay, but
I don't think you understood the article, Graham.
What about the actual paper, though, Graham? Did you ever look at that? Because that's what I would have done. I'd be like, oh, this is really cool. A fruit fly proteomics thing. Yeah, let's look that up. And then, I would type in, like, fruit fly proteomics mass reproductive isolation, and then hit enter, and then I would see what comes up on Google Scholar, and then I would read the actual paper.
It's cited right here.
Yeah, right
It's
there.
cited right here. Yeah, bro.
Did
Okay.
you look it up though, Graham? Did you read it? Because it's right there. Not only is it listed out for you with the total name and the people who wrote it, but also right there you could just click on the hyperlink. This is the internet. You can click the hyperlinks. This is not
Dapper.
yes.
Graham Pettis is the Richard Carrier of Kent Hovens.
Ooh, ouch.
Because he's
Only-
like, well, I mean, I totally understood it because it's cited right here.
The only thing worse.
It's like, did you read the original source and understand it? Well, no, but they
No.
cited it.
The only thing worse than being the Richard Carrier of Kent Hovens is being the Kent Hovind of Kent Hovens. Because as far as I know, Richard Carrier has not beaten any of his family members, nor has he let a small child drown on his property. So,
That is the article right there. And this is what
Yeah, it's the article that you got on the University of Syracuse website. It's not the actual paper that appeared in the Proceedings of the Royal Society on June 24th, 2020. Is it, Graham? You think maybe that paper might be a little bit longer than like the 3 screens you showed us? Because I do.
this person is referring to. So there's no backup of science. There's nothing else.
I think Prixie might actually be into this because now they say, what's the best way to pay you? Like GoFundMe?
Literally don't do that. I don't
think
want to
people
sing
want it.
3 minutes of tradition. I am not on Broadway for a reason, y'all.
What if people paid you for it, though?
It doesn't mean it'll be good.
I don't think anyone's expecting that.
Would you pay for something you know isn't gonna be good?
I mean, you realize that like people pay for all those crap Blumhouse movies. Not that all Blumhouse movies are crap, but a lot of them are. People pay for those.
Oh, the plot may not be great, but they're well produced. They're not like asylum movies.
People pay for those too.
Yeah, I mean, I
Someone
think they know what
paid
they're
for
getting though. But yeah,
Sharktopus.
no,
These people know what they're getting.
well, Percy's like, you could be a professional singer. No, not without very extended vocal
But if
coaching.
Prixie pays you to sing, now, at least for a little bit, you're a professional singer.
I know. Y'all look, singing was not my strong suit, even when I did musical theater, so, nah. I don't.
else that talks
Okay.
about this. There's another website that kind of expands on this a little bit deeper,
Is that other website the actual papergram? Is that the other website?
but a fly is still a fly. It did not evolve into a new species. This is the point.
I was saying we should pick up with this afterwards, but like I'm not going to. This is too terrible and dumb.
Nah. No, we gotta
Yeah.
get through this. It's
Yeah,
too much.
Even if we don't get through it, there's not gonna be a third episode of Graham Pettis. Unless he releases something new and groundbreaking. Carrie Bronson
He
for
won't.
$2 says if it sounds too good, it loses meme value. There, see? That's why the Avengers theme on Kazoo is such a great meme.
That I'm trying to make is sure you can have selective traits, but it's still a fly. It doesn't
Man.
evolve into something else, and there's limitations. If you look at rabbits, Florida rabbits, I live in Florida, they can't reproduce or interbreed.
That's another one of specifically Kent Hovind's talking points. I'm just taking a drink
Yep.
for how much
He's great value, Kent Hovind.
Jeez, man. Oh my goodness.
With Alaskan rabbits.
I thought that the TV screen pointed towards the camera was a bit of a coincidence. No.
Okay.
No, he just wants to be Kent Hovind, which is a disgusting thing to want to be. It's like
I had to go get something real quick because, and the chat will not be surprised at all.
the noise filter on Discord is cutting most of it out. Nice.
You never know when you're gonna need a kazoo.
Technically true.
There's limitations there. You'll never breed a dog the size of Texas, and you will have a dog the size of a roach. There's certain limitations.
Yeah, I'm taking another drink for just straight up copying Kent. Hey, Vishanti, welcome to your first Kent with Bent. No, second Kent with Bent. I guess it's your second Kent with Bent. Sorry.
Yeah, I've done one before.
Okay.
That happen through interbreeding. So let's jump into this. This is kind of like the other side. That's what people are teaching, but they've been...
Oh, Frank Sherwin. Oh, yeah. He's that guy who likes to just point at animals and say, look how cool this is. Couldn't be evolution. But at least he's not the guy who... So I did a video that had him in it, but also had another guy who at least he's not that guy, because that guy was the one who admitted to going on a date with his wife for the first time by pulling rank in the military and ordering her to go out with him, which is super not allowed. Yeah.
Gross.
So that's not Frank Sherwin, though. That's the other guy. So I'm not going to say that's Frank Sherwin. As far as I know, Frank Sherwin has never done anything that gross. He's just really dumb. Also, notice that his doctorate of science is honorary. He never actually earned a doctorate. He was given an honorary doctorate by a creationist school, which is kind of like being given a certificate in, like, mathematics by, like, FE Corps, the Flat Earth Engineers.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's like, is it really worth it? Is it worth the papers printed on? No, it's not.
Also, yeah, I think maybe I overestimated or overvalued Graham Pettis. I agree with Donna Lang that he's more like a Timu Kenthoven.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But accurate.
They do have some catchy commercials, though.
They do.
They do. Savage, the unicellular trilobite cobra for $5 says, he's not great value Kenthoven, he's Dollar General Kenthoven. Okay, another option. My Unfinished Chapter 1 for $10 says, there are some creationists who ride the bubble in the middle of the triangle. Example, Todd Woods is so honest and well-informed that some don't consider him a creationist. So here's the thing with that. I think he's dishonest, but he's not dishonest with other people. He's primarily dishonest with himself. Right? Because Todd Woods' big thing is basically, look, there's all the evidence for evolution. It's a productive field of science. Without coming to it from a biblical literalist point of view, there's no good reason to reject evolution. But I do anyway. Because I do come to it from a biblical literalist standpoint. At which point, I just think he's lying to himself. He knows it's not true. Somewhere deep down in there. I'll bet it keeps him up at night, right? Unless, of course, I don't know, maybe he's taking an edible before bed every day. Then probably isn't keeping him up at night.
Yeah.
Vince O'Connor says, now this is supposed to be sung, but I don't know what the tune is. Do you recognize the tune for this Vince O'Connor $20 super chat?
Yes. No, I don't recognize that offhand.
Oh, I'm sorry. But it says...
Or I'd sing it.
You must remember this. A kiss is just a kiss. A fly is just a fly. I don't know what tune it's supposed to be, so sorry. I'm sorry, Vince O'Connor. But I do thank you very much for the very generous super chat. I believe that is our biggest super chat of the night.
I did have to mention, though, Superfluous Fun with Anal Glands in the chat says, one night while driving Uber, my 4 passengers and I were singing along with Pearl Jam on the radio, and suddenly one of the guys starts playing a harmonica solo. You never know when you need one.
Hey, you know what? That's pretty cool, actually.
Now I want to know what Pearl Jam song it is.
Rosa McKellar for $4.99 says, a certificate in mountain climbing from the University of Phoenix. Hey, you know what? There are mountains right in Phoenix, or right outside Phoenix. In fact, there's actually a mountain trail right outside Phoenix that's so dangerous that it's not actually recommended for anything but advanced climbers, because people die up there every single year on that mountain. But also, yeah, the University of Phoenix is also mostly a fake university. I'm just saying Phoenix has real mountains that people die on. So, respect the Phoenix
Apparently
mountains.
the song is As Time Goes By.
I don't know that one from the top of my head. Sorry about that. Look, I think overall, though, you and I have a very high success rate on catching the references from chat.
Music is hit and miss, because I have very eccentric music taste.
Yeah.
doing these fruit fly studies for a long time now. That was from 2020. This is an old article from the Institute for Creation Research. I love
Top-notch institution.
Oh yeah, that paragon of, scientific research.
The ones
ICR.
The ones who don't even believe in natural selection.
this website. If you haven't already, check it out. But this is from 2006, and it kind of talks about some of...
Did he say 2006?
Well, even flow.
of the things that happened within these fruit fly studies. And there's a piece here we're going to read at the end here that they don't tell people. That's the thing, is they select the...
What do you think they don't tell people in that it wasn't in that 3-paragraph article you read? Or do you think they don't tell people in that it wasn't in the paper, but they did it anyway, and then somehow Frank Sherwin found out about it? Because I'm guessing it's the former and not the latter.
These articles, and they leave out certain information. And so
I mean, it was a 3-paragraph article about a whole paper. It's going to have to leave out most of the information. I think almost all of it.
This isn't the greatest scientific article of all time. It's just a tribute. I think you got that reference.
He couldn't remember the greatest scientific article in the world.
Here, I just want to educate you. I don't want to sway you towards my opinion. It's not my job. I want you to make a decision for yourself. We always hear this one side. Here's the other side. Let's see what it says. Since the early 1900s, the biological community has used the tiny fruit fly to conduct thousands of experiments. Students...
No, you missed a word. Drosophila. It's right there. It's
accidentally a word.
Some biology classes work with fruit flies, crossing various types to produce inheritance patterns. Today, there are many thousands of publications dealing with the fruit fly, and to secular biologists...
Which just means biologists.
Biologists.
Yeah. Remember, almost any time you see the word secular in a creationist publication, you can just erase it. It carries no semantic content. David Z for 5 beaver bucks. These are beaver bucks. And as their 5th super chat on a live stream says, "A kiss is just a kiss."
Sweet.
From Casablanca. Pretty sure there is a song called As Time Goes By. Yes, apparently this is true.
I haven't seen Casablanca in forever, so there's no surprise I didn't pick that up.
You should watch it with David.
I mean, I've seen it, it's been a very long time.
But have you seen it with David?
No.
Do you know which David I mean?
No.
The one from Prometheus.
The
Fassbender David.
Yeah.
Hey, he was by far the best part of that movie and the sequel.
Far and away.
I have no notes for Michael Fassbender as David.
Yeah. None.
Absolutely superb.
Just peak. Yep.
Yeah. I have notes for virtually every other aspect of both movies, but when it comes to Michael Fassbender as David, no. Absolutely
so good.
Perfect. I would.
Yeah, that dude.
If I could watch Prometheus and Alien Covenant, but just the scenes with Michael Fassbender talking, I would watch that.
Yep. By the way, if you haven't, you should watch him in Macbeth as the title character, because it is quite good.
Nice.
It is a creature for investigating evolutionary genetics. This insect is used because genetically it is relatively simple, having 4 pairs of easily observed chromosomes containing only 13,000 genes.
Why is that in parentheses DNA? That is not synonymous with DNA. I'm taking a drink. My goodness. And this is a Frank Sherwin drink, right? This is not because of Graham Pettis. He didn't write this. So here's a drink. Do you know
I think you should answer Vadim's comment.
Sir, was he watching Casablanca? Are you sure? Also, he
did the fingering.
He did do the fingering. I'm pretty sure he was watching Casablanca. Oh, no, he wasn't. He was watching Lawrence of Arabia. You're right. Ah, damn. Man, I screwed that one up big time. But hey, unlike a creationist, when I screw up and recognize it, I do this thing called accepting it and trying to do better next time. Yeah, it was Lawrence of Arabia. You're right. Damn. Oh, well. He was still the best part of those movies.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Frank Sherwin. Let's play a game. Not a jigsaw game, a more regular game, Vishanti. I want you to guess a percentage of how much of the human genome is made up of genes. I'm going to tell you higher or lower, and I want to see if you get it. What's your
How
first
much of the human genome is made up of genes?
as a percentage?
You know what? I'm just going to say 100% and see what happens.
Lower.
95.
Lower.
80.
Lower.
20.
Lower.
0.
No, it's higher than that. Humans have genes.
Okay. 5.
Lower.
I don't like this game.
Is it because you're feeling weird about your own genome?
Because I don't know the answer. I'm just spitballing here.
It's 3.
1.5?
No, it's 3.
Oh, 3?
3%.
Damn you, laser fan. I trusted you!
It's roughly 3% of the human genome is made up of actual genes. So to say that the genome is made up of 13,000 genes, parentheses, DNA, is an extremely dumb thing to say because the vast majority of your genome, your DNA, is not composed of genes at all.
This is the thing, like, remember when I told you that I don't really know a lot about biology?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I bought the book that's on my shelf about biology, so that maybe one day I could actually, like, fill in those gaps. That's why.
And also, of the non-genetic part, only another, like, 7 to 9% has any function at all.
Mm.
So, yeah. This is a ridiculous thing for Frank Sherman to say. Although I do appreciate that you started at 100%.
Well, you know what, Jillian Wren? I respect your kids. She said that my kids are playing hide and seek and my son just yelled 100% from his hiding place. So you know what? Props to you.
That's how you lose the game, though.
It's DNA. In March of
Hate you.
DNI? Come on, dude.
2000, the entire genome...
Can you rewind that? Because also, I hate you.
Sorry.
Genes.
You
That's
made
DNA.
everybody lose the game. How dare you?
Whoops.
How dare you?
If it helps,
sir.
you saying that means I lost it.
DNA. In March of 2000, the entire genome, the totality of genes of the fruit fly was sequenced.
No, if you...
Flute fry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know that's rude, but I don't care.
Independent
point,
of
like,
his
dude, nah.
pronunciation mistakes. Sequencing the entire genome means that you sample things that aren't the genes too. Not just the totality of the genes. That's going to be a tiny fraction of the genome. But also, since I made everyone lose the game, I also now cast the spell of manual breathing. Have fun.
Dude!
Ah.
Radiation
What is
such as X-ray.
What is wrong with you tonight, man?
I've had 3 beers. I know, it's the worst. Sorry.
Dapper's just out here turning evil when he gets drunk.
Hey, this has been particularly bad. I need to get out some evil energy.
Apparently! And you're taking it out on us.
Okay,
Take it out on Graham.
Hey, Graham, if you ever watch this, I now cast conscious awareness of your tongue. You are now both breathing manually and consciously aware of the existence of your tongue. Have fun with that, buddy.
Listen to this. Will produce mutations in various frequencies. So there's no such thing as a beneficial mutation where new information was added. You're always using
None of that
existing
makes
information.
sense,
Nothing.
Graham.
Yeah, no. And also notice how he was like, oh, we need to make sure we get our definitions down. And then, where's the definition
And he doesn't
for
define information?
Yeah, information, no definition. There's never a definition for information. I'm taking a drink for it.
Cat T is reading my mind because that's literally what I was about to say. I cast Remember You Can See Your Nose.
It's
Yeah.
true.
I cast Manual Blinking.
Ooh, harsh. Now we're just making everyone into a horrible, pathetic pile of having to think about all their bodily functions. Sorry, autonomic nervous system, you're no longer required.
News
I
ever
hate all
added.
of
So
this.
keep your mind on that. And various frequencies and strengths of X-rays have bombarded these insects in the laboratory, producing, for example, wing abnormalities. See, that's not evolution, that's devolution.
No, that's not a thing.
What?
Just take a drink.
If something changes in a way I don't like, it's devolution.
No, that's exactly what that is. It's just I don't personally like it. So, and I just coughed. Automatically, not manually. So take that.
See, evolution says things get better, but this is making things worse. But let's keep reading.
Worse by what standard? Here's the thing, right? You also don't get to import your, like, sentimentality in terms of evolution, in terms of what you think is better or worse, right? I just had to go through this whole thing in a script I was writing earlier today, right? Where Pam Acker, for those of you who have early access, yeah, I was working on the Pam Acker script. I finished it today. Was saying, well, look, I mean, these bacteria, sure, they're resistant to antibiotics, but when you put them into a flask without antibiotics with wild-type bacteria, they fare worse. So they're inferior. I'm like, okay, but that's logically equivalent to me saying, but if you put these wild-type bacteria in a flask with antibiotics and antibiotic-resistant bacteria, the wild-type do worse. So they're inferior. You have to use your human sentimentality and your preferences that are just arbitrary to come up with which environment is the one that you think is the appropriate one for measuring whether things are better or worse. And it's the same thing he's doing, right? He's like, oh, well, these wings are worse in an environment that I think of as quote-unquote normal for fruit flies, so therefore it's a negative thing. Okay, great. That's not the environment they're in. If they're in an environment where humans are selecting vestigial stumpy wings or 4 wings instead of 2 wings and halteres or whatever, and they're specifically selecting for that, then in that environment, that's the advantageous thing to have. I'm sorry, but just like gravity doesn't care how much you really rather fall more slowly when falling from the Empire State Building, you're not going to get to, because that's not how gravity works. It doesn't work based on how you feel. Same thing with evolution. Evolution does not give a crap what you personally think is better. Borg Emporia, who's been a member for 8 months and is at the amniote level, says, Godzilla, wonder if this year's batch Borg nanoprobes placed in Dapper's drink works on non-avian dinosaurs. Regardless, keep up the good work, Dapper. As far as I know, this Modelo Cerveza does not have any Borg nanoprobes, but I could be wrong. Vishanti, do you know if Modelo adds Borg nanoprobes to their beer?
Me parece que no.
Well, it's not on the ingredients list, so...
I don't think they do.
Okay. Well, you never know. Remember that time that the Borg were implanting nanoprobes via the transporter system? That was weird. What?
Remember that time that Star Trek ruined the whole concept of the Borg by giving them a queen?
Yeah. I do.
Yeah.
Wasn't the greatest thing. Volan Gingerson? I'm going to go with Gingerson on this one. And if I'm wrong, please correct me. With their 5th super chat on a stream for $5 says, information to creationists is like the Pokemon Ditto. I can be whatever you want me to be. True.
Yeah.
Which is also why Ditto is the most promiscuous Pokemon, because you can breed that thing with anything. Just put it in the little Pokemon camp and you'll get an egg.
Slutty little Ditto.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you know what? Good for Ditto. That's what Ditto wants.
Yep.
Go for it.
That's right.
It's kind of like in a if you're playing D&D in the world of Eberron, where changelings are just a normal race. Why would any other race ever staff the brothels? It's all going to be changelings.
These are the important questions,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't matter which one you get.
Oh, thank you, Laser Fan. It's because my mom's family is Mexican on the maternal side, so I grew up speaking it.
Okay.
But they're also asking me, superfluous fun with anal glands is asking Vishanti Borg Queen cosplay when I don't have the talent or the patience. Even if someone made me a Borg Queen outfit, I don't have the patience to sit through many hours of makeup and prosthetics. Even though I'm personally friends with people who work in the industry who do that for a living.
It would not be easy to get all that hair inside of a skull cap that would be convincing.
I mean, you'd be surprised. My hair is very fine. I can get it into very, very short hair wigs, and it doesn't show.
Fair enough.
So that's one benefit of me having fine hair that I actually like. And she's got all the cords and cables coming out of the back of her head, so that would give me extra space anyway.
Okay.
He's known as Apterius, vestigial, dumpy. So vestigial just meaning
not Apterius, you're inserting an extra vowel. It's Apterus, but okay.
It's a might be a
also it's not vestigial because that's not what vestigial means, but okay.
Body part that's no longer in use. It's just
Nope, also not what vestigial is. Vestigial just means it's no longer used for any significant amount of the ancestral use, right? So if it's a vestigial leg, it's no longer used primarily for locomotion on land. Taking a drink.
Flunder Gingerson. I'm so glad to know that
Gingerson.
my intuition was correct, and yet again, Dapper fails at the soft GI.
Look, man, I don't know what all the rules are for G followed by a front vowel in all the Germanic languages. I speak like one Germanic, well, I don't know, like 1.5 Germanic languages, I guess, if you count like Old English is not the same thing as just English. I don't even speak that completely.
I let it slide, but...
Yeah, look. I don't know all the rules for all the languages.
It evolved and then it just died off and that's it.
Why not? You've been alive through all of them.
Yeah, but I wasn't like integrated into human society for most of that time.
No, are you sure that's like why Beowulf was written, right? Didn't they think like one of your relatives was Grendel?
No, actually.
That's what Kent Hovind said.
I know, and despite that, specifically, Beowulf describes Grendel as the kin of Cain, as in Cain and Abel. And so unless Cain himself was a dinosaur, which then I want someone to explain to me how it is that Eve gave birth to a baby dinosaur, then no.
I mean, this is going into a whole nother realm of masquerade lore, and honestly, I mean, we might be having like...
realm of Chuck Tingle lore.
Chuck Tingle lore, I mean, there's Chuck Tingle lore, there may be a crossover there. We need to explore like the TV show Dinosaurs, where they had like actual jobs and families, and Earl was wearing like a red plaid shirt, you know?
I love that show just ends with all of them dying. It's so dark.
It's so wrong.
They all just die in the last episode as the world
I mean, I think
over.
we knew where it was going, but you didn't have to do us like that, you know?
Or maybe they did.
God.
It's also kind of the perfect
You know
ending.
what? I'll give the chat this one for free. Since the person right above, Eve laid a Tyrannosaur leg, says Savage Cobra. Okay, so there is a very obscure bit of Kabbalah that says that Eve actually had offspring with the serpent, and that it produced Cain's line, and that the implication there is that there might be human serpentine hybrids, maybe, but maybe that's where the Grendel dinosaur thing came from.
Like the vampires from the From Dusk Till Dawn TV show, not the movie?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. All right. Well, here's the thing. We're going to get a tiny little bit in here, and then we're just going to close it up.
Okay.
We're going to get him to like finish a sentence or two.
Yeah, DM Wing says Eve is the mother of all things living, so you got us on that one.
Yeah, I feel like the things, though, is something you inserted there, and that the actual language of the original text doesn't say all things living. It just says all living, and it just says
all living, so...
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like in context it means all living humans, but what do I know?
But there's no longer use for that. We'll hear this all the time, maybe with their humans, with their tailbones. But I'll tell you what, I'll pay to have your tailbone removed, and you let me know how you're feeling.
Wow.
He's literally just ripping off Kent Hovin's crappy jokes.
I'm taking another drink for the Kent Hovind bad joke that didn't land, obviously. Okay, for $2, Carrie Bronson says, the movie made Mama Grendel a stripper? I mean, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, the 3D version.
Yeah, it was a little weird. If you read...
Not good.
So actually, interestingly, Beowulf's fight with Grendel's mother was my final in my Old English class. Like, we were given a handout that was just that section of the poem and told, translate this and show your work. It's just like, oh, okay, cool. And yeah, if you read that in Old English, you do not get the sense that she's a sexy gold-clad stripper lady, Laura Croft. That's not the sense that you get. She's not portrayed as particularly enticing. Now, I do know that in the movie, the implication is supposed to be that the account that we get from the book is just what Beowulf told people, right? And wink,
of
wink,
course,
nudge, nudge.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's completely a fabrication of the movie. Which, I mean, hey,
fine, okay.
You can take whatever liberties you want with the text. I'm not in charge. Also, David Z, for 2 Beaverbucks, says, time to get into the Book of Nod.
Not on air. That's a masquerade violation.
Yeah, good point. I think actually just acknowledging that it exists is already a masquerade violation. So I'm going to be contacting like the LA Prince, and you'll probably be getting a knock on the door soon.
I'm friends with the LA Prince. I'll be alright.
Yeah, is that going to cover up for a
Vadim
masquerade
says-
violation?
I'm just saying that this would potentially go in my favor. I have confidence.
All right.
Anyway, Vadim is saying Dinosaur Vampire the Masquerade has Serpent Vampires too. Dapper Dinosaur, sorry. Vampire the Masquerade has Serpent Vampires too. Setites.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah. That's
I'm
a good
down.
point.
I'm
Yeah, they
down.
do have the more
That's
serpentine thing going on
Yeah.
there, yeah. But I also just appreciate, like, the inclusion of Mesoamerican lore in a TV show, which is why I went to the From Dusk Till Dawn. Even though, I mean, like, look, they take liberties with that. Just like every show, like, riffing on Christian mythology and whatnot, takes liberties with it.
Yeah.
But I just appreciate that there's some extra representation for a religious tradition that normally gets zero recognition in media. So, all right. But with that, we are
See,
over
that's
time.
another thing, and I was just about to say, okay, because see, LA technically doesn't even have a prince; they have a baron. It was an Anarch territory, and then Heather Kuhn is saying,
Okay.
"Isn't it Sabbat territory?" And I'm like, "Yo, look, the new core books have come out with the Sabbat. I'm just saying this is a whole complicated mess, but it was actually not run by the Ivory Tower. It was Anarch territory, and it's been
All
that
right.
way for a while.
I mean,
Just saying."
yeah. I still
meant
feel
the
like I could
Brits
find.
Or-
I still feel like
I
I
meant
could
the
find a
undisputed
nearby-
Baron.
Oh yeah.
Undisputed Baron of the Valley.
I still feel like I could find someone who wouldn't be okay with such a blatant masquerade violation as just acknowledging the Book of Nod. Hell, if I have to, I'll just
honestly,
send some
why don't I
glasswalkers
just
after
use
you.
dominate on everybody in the stream and then make you forget? It's all
Does it
right. We're
work over
cool.
streams?
Some powers do work over technology, but it
Does
requires
dominate?
a very strong dice roll.
Does dominate work
I mean,
over
I could
technology?
check.
All right,
I could check.
how many dots do you have in dominate? Better be a lot.
Hang on, let me check. Go ahead, carry on. I'll check.
So, we're wrapping up here. While Vishanti tells us how many dots she has in the kinkiest of all the vampire powers. What? It's dominate.
No, the kinkiest one is what the Tsumichi do when they're flesh crafting.
Yeah, maybe that's kinky if you're a freaking Cenobite.
I mean, I just
All right.
just saying.
Most kink people aren't into that exactly, but yeah, what do I know? All right, let's take a look at what's coming up soon. We are not continuing with Grand Pettis. It's just Kent Hovind.
It's too
I'm done with
painful.
him. Yeah, I'm done with him. We will do something else on Saturday. I think we might do Rob Carter giving a talk about dinosaurs, because as everyone knows, the guy you most want to talk about dinosaurs is the marine biologist who lies about genetics. That's who you want to talk about dinosaurs. However, on Thursday, the 18th, we're going to be having Our Young Universe Part 1, in which Jake Hebert, Jake the Forehead Hebert, is going to be telling us about how the universe is actually very young, really. Then on the 20th, as I said, we're going to be having another Dapper Reacts. That's the plan. Then on the 23rd, a Jackson with Jackson is the plan. We'll be... I have to find a new Jackson video, actually. We finished the last one, so... If any of you find a good Charles Jackson video, send it to me. Go ahead, Vishanti.
So I'm refreshing myself on the V5 rules because it's been a while.
Yeah.
Dominate typically requires eye contact,
Okay.
but if you have really high aspects, you obviously have to command them verbally, and they need to be able to understand you. So that's one thing. You can just say forget, and anybody who happens to be looking at you would, according to your storyteller, they could be affected. You can also combine it with other stuff like mass manipulation, which is something that ministry characters tend to love using. So, yeah, just saying, mass manipulation. That's a level 5, so you have to have a lot of dots in it. But
How many dots do you have?
yeah, I didn't dump a lot into dominate, but that's not something I can't fix.
Can you fix it in the course of the next couple minutes?
I mean, I don't want to find out.
Well, then
Because if
let's
I
go
fail,
with no.
that could be bad.
Yeah, so you just violated the masquerade with no option for really easily clawing that back.
That's
yeah.
okay. I'll be all right. Because
Hopefully.
unlike Kindred, I can walk around in the daytime. So
Okay. Well, with that interesting bits of wait, then how do you even have dominate in the first place? You have to be a kindred in the first place just to get it.
you know I could be somebody's ghoul, right?
I suppose that's true. Yeah. Okay. Could also just be a mage.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the I just do kind of what I want,
Could
and
just be a mage, that's true.
maybe it kills me, maybe not. Who knows?
Checkmate.
All right, guys. We're done with talking about all the World of Darkness because eventually we'll get into like the ones no one's heard of, like a Wraith or something. Let's get out of here. If you're
Haven't they put out a new thing of Wraith?
last
they
I
were
heard,
working
no,
on it?
but maybe they have. I don't know.
I should check the server.
Last I heard, there was only ever one like Wraith book really published, and then that was it. No one played it, and they abandoned it. But anyway, like I said, that's enough World of Darkness for now.
Yes, for now.
If you're interested, I'm going to be over on my own Discord for supporters. We're going to watch some Power Rangers Wild Horse. And then that'll be it for me for
Vampire
tonight.
Hunter Werewolf.
All right, Vishanti, we're done
Oh, that's
with
right.
that.
They put out a new Hunter book. But anyway, sorry, I got distracted. World of Darkness is fun.
It is. I'm not going to deny that. Yeah. Also, who was it that I said was a gangrel? There was some like pop culture vampire or something. I was like, I think he's a gangrel because he's always sleeping around a lake.
Oh,
It doesn't matter.
pop culture vampire that sleeps around a lake?
Yeah, you can tell me later if you remember it, or if I remember it, I'll mention it. Might not even actually been a vampire. I might have just been making the connection. Anyway,
Okay.
Oh, you know what? It might have been Jason because he's always around that lake. He just moves his lair every once in a while, and he's always coming back from the dead. Maybe Jason is actually a gangrel vampire.
Okay.
You know it fits.
All right, man. All right. I mean, I'm not gonna
All right.
Alex Markel says laughs in changeling. God.
All right, we're getting out of here. Bye, everybody. Hey, before you leave, I just want to take a second to thank my patrons and channel members, especially those pledging $20 or above. Ben Tovand, Phil Ravara, Tapioca Weasel, Whispers, Denny5252, Eleron Teller, Horseflesh, Ian Chen, Kelvin Brostock Van Manen, Landon Knoll, Mabbity Babbity, Monkey They Them, Robert Carpenter, Sphincter of Doom, Vollus, Strawberry Vein, and Ita V. It's because of my channel members and patrons whom you're seeing on screen that this channel can stay afloat. Without you, it would all shut down. If you want to join the team, there's a link to join the channel below this video, and there's a link to join the Patreon in the description. On the Patreon, you can get a 10% discount for pledging annually, and either way, you get early access to virtually all of my scripted videos, often 3 to 5 months before they come out for the general public. Thanks for watching.